So the point I was trying to make earlier was that I can't wait until...
Are we podcasting?
Yes.
Oh, shit.
I can't wait until... I kind of can't wait till children from our generation, people were like stupid enough to have children, I can't wait until their children get to a point where they're like teenage, close to adult, and they hear their parents saying ridiculously stupid shit that makes no sense.
Oh, you're waiting. Okay, I was like, where are we going with this? Are we like starting off as like like old children existing as bad rant again? And I'm like,
oh no,
you're just waiting for like the internet to be so old that it becomes a record of how shitty your parents were when they were young. Because like you can find their like MySpace archive of them being just shitheads and idiots and into like My Chemical Romance and being scene kids and like all these things that you don't imagine your like 50-year-old parents to be like, because they're boring and irritating and that's just tell you what not to do.
And like especially now, like if I talk to my grandparents, my grandparents would say something like, my grandfather would be like, I really liked the Old West movies in the day, and he would like quote Old West movies. But imagine like our generations would be like, yeah, remember that Smash Mouth song from Shrek?
And somebody wants acid.
And if you started
I'm
singing...
just imagining all of the really emo poetry about how hard life is being a 13-year-old who sometimes doesn't get exactly what they want and like all that shit, and then like that just being left immortal on the internet. Like you find your parents like 50 years forgotten live journal page and just has all these like embarrassing thoughts that they never thought about it being public, even though it was always public.
That's like the only thing. That's like the only record. The only hope I have is that one day LiveJournal will just cease to exist. But for now, like I still have my live journals just like super locked down to the point where you can't search it, can't find it, can't read it.
Both of our DeviantArts are still up, though, aren't they?
Not mine.
Did you take yours down?
Yeah, I took mine down and remade a new one.
You took down the one with all of your, like, Shen comics, where you were doing the Shen comic things, where you literally had a bunch of characters that represented the different emotions in your life, and they would argue and fight and shit like that.
In fairness, I didn't know about Shen, so I didn't
I don't know if he existed at the time.
I don't think he did.
To be sure.
But, no, I deleted that.
There's also that guy that has, like, your brain and your stomach, like his organs are all alive in the comic.
Yeah,
like there's just a lot of people.
The guy who's not Shen.
But yeah,
people keep thinking
Andrew had a whole history of that shit.
I did.
I also tried to start a webcomic once.
Did you?
Yes. You can see weird, almost like proto Cyanide and Happiness / but like higher. It was like higher detail than Cyanide and Happiness, but still like some sort of attempt at like modular design where I could do it almost copy paste and move things around instead of having to redraw everything because I'm not that kind of artist.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can make all the components and then move them around like Duralius and Associates essentially for the comics.
It's efficient.
And I had drawings of like 3 different people in my life, including me. And I think I used that shitty bleeding cowboy font for the names or something. Like it's really like that's why I'm so like aware of that shit. It's all still up there. My Sebspot is still up.
Yeah.
My DeviantArt is still up. I haven't updated in years. I literally haven't updated since I started Let's Playing. Because that was the same summer where I was doing the GYST project where I was like, I'm going to exercise every day and learn guitar and do digital art every day. So I had those YouTube videos of me doing really shittily playing guitar just as an attempt to like just stick to it as like I was like filming it.
Yeah.
And I was exercising and I was doing like more digital art. And that was like they all have really dumb names of like GYST and then some like numbers just because it was just like just going basically.
Yeah.
But that was actually when I recorded my first Let's Play ever. It wasn't with you. I'm sorry.
No, that was with your brother, right?
Yeah, it was Trine. Yeah. That Trine video. I was like, my brother was over and we played Trine for a bit. And I just put it at the end of one of the GYST videos after me playing some shitty Pixie song probably or something. It suddenly cuts to like funny Trine stuff of just trolling each other in Trine, and it was such a shit show because I had face cam, but the face cam was like
the Xbox camera.
No, the face cam was my physical camera I had at the time that I used for all the photography on my DeviantArt actually.
Oh no!
And I was filming with it, and the batteries went dead midway through, just out of nowhere, and it just stops, and then like the face cam just disappears midway through the video because there was no more face cam to use.
Yeah,
that was like a good 3 or 4 months before we first recorded Akane the Kunoichi. Our first Let's Play.
Our first Let's Play.
It's still up there. Yeah, but it didn't go up first.
No.
Because we did Protect Me Night went up first.
Yeah.
And those were all out of sync.
But it doesn't matter. It's still all up there. You can see the first video we ever recorded together.
It's
still up there.
There's entire chunks of our history that are missing, but I'm happy the first ones are there at the very least.
The Xbox Live indie games will never go away. Those are like the best things.
I like having the whole history of YouTube. I like when YouTubers' history is just all there.
Yeah,
in its entirety.
I am like a very staunch revisionist. I will go back.
I know that.
I will destroy history.
I know that from the hundreds of videos you deleted.
It wasn't hundreds. Jesus.
It was like 6 months.
No, it wasn't.
I always
6
remember
months.
because I was doing the.
You're acting like there were a lot of them.
I was doing the 2012 highlights video, and I remember like I was just re-downloading every single video we made in 2012, and just watched as like the dates suddenly skipped forward like 3 months or something.
Yeah, but you have to remember that there are two factors there. One, every video was cut up into 10 minutes.
Yes.
So
it was not large quantities of video.
No, it wasn't large quantities.
But it was daily videos at least.
Well, yeah, but you're acting like I deleted like hundreds of 30-minute videos. No, why
would anyone ever be sore over this?
It doesn't matter. The point is that like I've spent so much time.
Just like, hey, I heard you did a Catherine playthrough once. I'm like, yeah.
Oh, I mean, okay. First of all, I didn't delete it while we were in the middle of doing Catherine. We gave up on Catherine.
No, you deleted it when we were in the middle of Dead Space and Lollipop Chainsaw.
Yeah, but we had given up on Catherine. You were borrowing it from Carissa. You didn't even own the game, and you'd already given it back.
I think I own it now, but now I'm afraid of playing it because Atlas is evil.
Yeah, but the point is that I deleted those videos because we'd given up on the series and it was going to be a dead end.
I think I have plenty of room to be sour about Lollipop Chainsaw.
That's fine
because we literally finished it.
I never argued with you on that.
And you were like, you uploaded 3 episodes, then deleted the entire archive.
I was
like, why did you
never
do this?
once argued that deleting Lollipop Chainsaw was a good idea.
But you didn't think this was where this was going when we were talking about people being embarrassed by their parents?
No, but the point is that like I've spent a lot of time erasing my history from the internet.
I know.
Your
live journals is an archived secret.
Oh,
no one will ever see. Until you get 1,000 on Patreon.
No,
launch the tier. Launch the tier. Launch the tier. Launch the tier.
I will not. I will. I cannot. I would die if anybody read that.
You wouldn't even read your live journal to the internet, even if it changed your life. Like financially.
If you got me to like Philip DeFranco levels of Patreon, like sure I'll read that shit, but like no way, that stuff is fucking awful.
It's even more embarrassing than my story about the unlucky number 7 or whatever.
Yes, that shit is just it basically was a time when I didn't think because in my head I was like nobody reads the shit on the internet. Like, no one knows me. No one will ever know me. No one will ever read shit that I wrote on the internet. I'll never make friends. No one will like me. I'll just write shit on the internet. It'll be fine. That was a fucking mistake because I didn't have any filter. I just wrote exactly how I felt. Awful. It was just god awful.
I've never been a diary person.
I am.
Like, I've never written one. Of them. I've never been on an online one. Like, I pretty much have always used social media as a way of sharing links, basically.
Yeah.
And, my most embarrassing word stuff in the past is like finding old reviews on like Rotten Tomatoes that I made like 12 years ago. I'm like, oh fuck, this site's been around for so long that like a different version of me wrote reviews of some of these movies, and it's like, here's my review of why Advent Children's the best movie ever made and shit like that. And I'm just like, oh boy.
Oh Keith. Oh baby Keith.
That's just outdated opinion stuff. I also have thousands of messages on forums. Just find my username on some of those places. You can just find just thousands of dumb messages and arguments of me being much younger and stupid.
I'll give a kernel of.
I can remember several arguments where I was clearly wrong.
Wow.
And just being weird, and I don't know why I even was taking the stance I was doing.
I can give you a kernel of hope. Is that like I have a forum account that I cannot get rid of. It will not let me delete it.
Does it use one of your names that's recognizable?
And I did use one of my names as recognizable. Well, because to preface this, like the username that I use, which is thankfully not anywhere, except it's not really anywhere because even on Discord it's not there because my nickname is just that Andrew, so it's not even my username on.
Is it Knackle instead of Knackle?
Yeah,
because that shows up a lot.
But I'm saying it doesn't, like, if you go to my YouTube page, you're not going to see Knackleson and Knackle. Like, it's not.
You'll find it hidden away.
Yeah.
On old videos.
Oh yeah,
where it used to be your go-to call sign everywhere until you became. You became the sole proprietor of the sad games.
Well, because I learned, I spent one day where I said, okay, I'm just going to Google Knackleson and Knackle because no one has that username. Oh, yeah, they don't, because it's just me. And there's a lot of results. And I was like, oh, no, I've been on the internet too long. I need to delete these. And I had to like go through.
When I want to Google myself, I've got to like, okay, Sebastian SB doesn't work because a ton of people that speak Spanish.
Excuse me? What was that?
Well, I heard like a ding ding and then a fire alarm sound.
That was weird.
Was that like your Nest freaking out?
I think that was my...
Do you want to check what it means?
Yeah, it's fine.
Are we on fire?
No.
Is there a tornado warning?
No. If it was going to
that was a thought destroyer. I'm literally like, what was I talking about? The room yelled at me. I've never heard that before.
It's better than when it does its when that thing does its self-test. It's real fucking ominous because it's like a voice comes over the speaker and it goes like, "This alarm is going to go off. The alarm is very loud. Please leave the room." And then it starts doing the alarm. And, like I woke up in
It just does that? When?
It happens. I think I told it to do it once a month, like in the middle of the month on like some random Wednesday. But it happened like one time in the middle of the night, and I just wasn't ready for it because I was sitting in.
I imagine.
Oh, because I was sitting in my.
I imagine you would be ready for a surprise alarm in the middle of the night.
Because I was sitting in my office and I was I forget what I was like recording something, and I hear like, "The alarm is going to go off." And I was like, who's saying that? And I was like, what's going on? And it was like, "What?" And I was like, what is happening? It's like my house is screaming at me. And I like went on my Nest app and it was like, we did our weekly or our monthly checkup and it's fine. I was like, don't do that again. Like, that's not okay. Like it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, was your phone beeping at us?
No, it was the actual fire alarm.
I heard the beep beep, but I also heard badong like from that direction.
No, that was the...
You should check to see if the phone's still recording.
It is still
and it didn't like interrupt.
No.
Because we've had a failed recording that one time. And it makes me worried.
No, still fine.
It's still fine? Okay. That does remind me of the time where I had an alarm mishap at my mom's house. And the cops arrived.
Oh, yeah,
Did I ever tell that on the podcast?
No, I don't think you ever
did. I told you, didn't I?
Yes, you told me.
Yeah, that was an adventure. So I take care of my mom's pets when they go on vacation sometimes. Like, just go by...
Yeah, our pets take vacations.
Play with them a little bit. But basically just... I deal with their shit and their food.
Yeah, basically you feed them and make sure they're not dead.
And water some plants and try to remember which ones are real. Which is, I've definitely watered fake plants a few times. I'm like, wait a minute, you got me right there.
The plant's just like, the leaves are all coming out, just like, gotcha, Keith.
I guess there's no consequence for watering a fake plant. It'll just dry out eventually.
No, there is consequence.
I guess
now there's water inside of the pot, and that could get gross.
Yeah, I guess the issue is that the soil might mold if it's just wet, but it probably dries out eventually or whatever. But yeah, like I'll deal with them. They'll always be like, remember to play with them. Like I really want them to be socialized. I'm like, they're two cats and a strange person's walking in a house. They're going to be invisible. I literally don't know they're alive for a while, and I have to wait until I can confirm they both are physically in the house before I leave. Because I just want to make sure they're, there. But, like, that's, like, play with them? The fuck? They literally won't even take treats from me. They're like, they find weird dark corners and disappear immediately.
That's also the worst part about cats, is that when they die, they go and hide to die.
Oh.
Because they don't want their owner to find them. Because they don't want to, like, upset
I had to take care of their dying cat for a while there. For several of the times I was taking care of their pets, they had a dying cat, and it was having a kidney failure.
Oh.
And so I had to give it fluids.
What?
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, a needle.
Oh.
Like, I'd like, strap it into, like, a tiny cat hospital bed, kind of. And I would jam a needle in his back and be holding this bag over my head so that gravity takes the fluids into the cat's back.
You were giving the cat a saline bag?
Yes.
What?
Yes, I have experience giving an actual animal saline. this is a thing I've done before. And then you like swap out the needles and you have to use a new needle every time. And all
Veterinarian Keith on the call.
It's fucking scary. It's a big ass needle.
Yeah.
It's a really uncomfortable moment that just due to this cat that's
and you have to like put it
also
back.
I had to fucking catch the cat, which
Yeah.
really helps the bedside manner of them being totally into being like trapped by you.
Yeah.
'Cause this cat's terrified of me and running away, and I'm like, I cannot go any slower.
I just want you to live.
I'm moving so slow and being so calm, and I'm like, I'm not trying to be threatening in any way, but
The cat's
I
not
have
stupid.
to catch you. Like I have, like there's some real moments of like jamming a broom under a bed to like get the fuck out of there, get out. I can't reach you down there. I need
poor
to
cat.
try to flush it out the other side, and then closing various doors around the house until they can't go in any more rooms.
I'll say this. I don't think a lot of people agree, but like that's just cut it. Just
That's one of the arguments is at what point are you keeping an animal alive through in a form of like suffering or not?
Yeah.
But at the same time, we as humans can start like breaking down, and we want to stick a fuck around, and we're like, I'll deal with all these different things that I didn't think I'd deal with when I was younger.
Yeah, like you're willing to shell out so much money to keep an animal alive, and that animal may just be like, can I just die? Like,
that's always the question. I had to face that once with Angel.
Yeah,
because like you could not tell
if the dog was suffering.
Spoiler
alert: dogs don't suffer. No, I'm serious. Dogs, their entire existence is to be with you through pain, through suffering. They want to be with you, and to take them away from you is suffering to them. So, like, to kill a dog, that's like the ultimate suffering for them. They don't care. Like, they could be like broken limbs and shit, but as long as you're sitting there petting them, they are content and happy. They want to be with you, serving you. For dogs, we do not deserve dogs.
But even then, it's still just a narrative because we still can't tell.
Well, okay, but I'm not arguing that you shouldn't kill the dog. If the dog is like the dog is realistically like kidney failure, cancer, whatever, you have to kill it.
I think you saw Angel's condition, right?
Yeah,
where like her nose was like going away.
Yes, like she was evaporating as a being. Like,
it was really
she was turning into like what's this?
Because she was like.
She's turning into Voldemort, basically.
It was like a 12-year-old yellow lab, I want to say. Like she was old. She was getting up there, but not up there.
No, but she was old enough that like you could tell that she had white hair and gold hair.
Yeah, which is hard to tell.
Yeah,
on an almost white dog to begin with.
Yeah,
they're so close to it already. But she had an autoimmune disease, and it was like attacking her nose and like her eyelids or something. Mostly her nose.
Yeah.
But sometimes you'd see like almost like a little scabbing like right here a little. But it was mostly just like her nose was a weird like scab mess.
Yes.
And it just would be that. And like we'd be like hiding medication in her food and all that stuff, which was very easy to. It was very easy to feed her. And it was she was just an easy dog in every way.
Yeah.
She was very cooperative, and unlike Shadow, I could explain her behavior all the time.
Yeah.
She generally was like, okay. She wants to play sometimes, and also likes to eat and shit and sleep. And
she is just dog.
She would just go on whims. Like she would wander away and go and dig holes and do whatever the fuck.
Yeah,
and
she just did normal dog shit.
She was an strong, independent dog.
She didn't need no owner.
One day she started having this problem, and it like got gradually worse over the course of probably like a year. And she showed no signs of being in pain,
like no suffering,
aside from the visible thing of like that looks like it hurts.
Yeah,
and like, it was such a horrible question of like I can't tell if you you just asking the same question every day of like I can't tell if this what that feels like or what state that's in. You just give them the medication and you just keep going. And so one day she just started sneezing blood in every room of the house until there was just puddles of blood throughout the entire house everywhere, like somebody was murdered. And then she was like taken off and she was put to sleep that night. I literally was like, I had the weirdest day of like mopping up blood and then going to like a dinner with friends because there was a dinner we had planned that day. Yeah, and my parents were like, we're gonna take care of it, figure out what to do with the dog and stuff. And then I just get the message midway through the dinner that this dog that I've known since I was like 11 is dead. And I'm like, serious? Oh shit! I wouldn't even know we were at that stage. Like I don't know what happened. I think something just broke.
Yeah. I mean, it came to a head. Like it's basically because the problem is that scabbing.
It's like a nosebleed where like something just finally ruptured somewhere, and she was just bleeding.
And she wouldn't stop.
And she was concerned, but I can't tell what state. Like, is this pain sounds, or is this like concerned, confused, worry sound? Because there's a lot of things to make sounds about in that scene when our room becomes silent. Our house became Silent Hill for a day. And then the dogs, that's it. The dogs, like that was my one sit through a full life cycle of a dog experience, I think, and I'm kind of not in a hurry to start over. It's not, although I do have 2 more dead dog stories.
Jesus, I only have 1. That's it. Oh no, I have 2 technically, but but one I have as a grew up with and then had to put down. The other was like it just died. But the one I had one where it was the end of life cycle story, but it wasn't my dog, and it wasn't in my life till the end. Oh, okay. And then I had one that just died. Yeah, like it was just like, oh, one day the dog died. I was there, so it wasn't great, but like, oh, yeah. For me, when my dog died, it was like in the town I lived in before I moved here. We had a big old black lab, and it was a thunderstorm one night. Fence fell over. And she ran out because she got scared, and we didn't have like a dog door, so she just ran out because it was like middle of the night, so no one was up to let her back in. And so she just ran, and then she ended up getting all the way to the freeway, and then she got hit by a car.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Freeway is far away.
No, it's not. The freeway wasn't that far from where I lived. Oh, because I lived. My old house was in Pinole. So, you know... Oh,
you're talking about a different town.
Yeah, different town.
I have a vague idea of where your old house was here, and it's even further from the freeway.
No. That was...
It's a trip to get to the freeway.
That house is where I put down my dog.
Well, this just became the Dead Dog Stories podcast. Well, I guess I'll remember that name later when I'm naming it.
I mean, that story isn't as sad because it was just... I got a dog for Christmas, in the first town I lived in. We ended up, moving here, and 13, 14 years later... We eventually, the dog was basically blind, deaf, and had, severe arthritis. Cocker Spaniels are, literally the shittiest breed ever.
I do find myself just believing that one narrative sometimes where, people just, parents just get their kids' dogs to teach them about death.
Yeah.
In, a confined time. Look, it's young. Now it's not young. Now it's dying. Now it's dead.
I mean, it'd probably be...
Oh, then, your adolescence. Yeah. It's just...
Well, I was... when I put that dog down, I was out of high school already. I was 20-something.
Yeah, no, they live longer sometimes.
Yeah, and so...
Because we got our dogs when we were already in our, teens or whatever.
That's when I got mine.
Angel went out probably the same year I started doing solo videos.
Wow.
I think it was 2013 or 2012. Okay. Something like that.
That's not bad.
And we had her since 2001.
Damn. I think had our dog since 1998, and he died in 2010.
Basically the same time frame.
Yeah, basically the same time frame. For ours, it was very simple. It was just blind, deaf, arthritis, couldn't move, basically couldn't climb the stairs to go to bed every night, and couldn't walk.
Yeah, I've never gone there with a dog, where it's you reach a point where it's they're slowly ceasing to function over time.
But the hard part was, for me, the reason it took so long, because I felt bad about it, but it was the dog's not in pain. The arthritis was fine. We just gave it pain medication, and it's not it struggled to walk.
That's actually one of the cats here, is they get arthritis medication, and suddenly they were lively.
Yeah, they're fine. And so the dog was fine. He just couldn't see or hear, which didn't affect his quality of life. I mean, he didn't, in the sense of as long as we were around him, he was fine. He didn't care as long as he wasn't left alone.
Kind of see or hear, or he's literally none? Because I was if you literally can't see or hear at all, then it's what is your life?
Basically, I would.
That's that's the scariest idea.
Yeah,
is when you literally can't see or hear. What is your way of experiencing life?
The world. Yeah,
it's just touch and taste and smell, I guess. And that's really hard to comprehend.
Yeah, that makes the world a lot smaller.
I can comprehend losing one of those. Where it's wow, that sure changes every aspect of your life, but you can still, life still has the same portal overall. You're in the same dimension.
Yeah.
You're experiencing life in the same dimension if you lose one of those things.
I would rather...
Once they're both gone, it's literally it's literally different world. Like,
I would rather lose taste.
Obviously,
yeah.
Of course, you'd be like, yeah, I'd rather lose one of those really perfunctory ones that isn't like the ones that are how I experience all of life.
Well, I guess I could lose touch too. I don't care about touch.
You'd rather lose taste over smell?
Yeah,
but taste affects whether or not how you enjoy food.
Food isn't good. I hate food.
Which affects your appetite. I guess you have an eating disorder, so that's separate.
I don't give a shit about food. Food's whatever.
You have to deal with the shit where like you don't like food. Yeah, somehow.
I don't like food. So smells. I don't like smells either. So get rid of that too.
I mean, smell would obviously be the easiest one to lose.
Yeah, I mean, I already have.
I'm not fond of the idea of losing touch because my stepmother hurts herself all the time because she doesn't have feeling.
Oh, really? She has no sensation in her hands?
Yeah, her hands and feet don't have feelings, so she just breaks shit all the time.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm like, I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
My mom had that because she fucked up one time. I don't remember what she was doing something fucking stupid. And she like ended up like slicing her hand like super bad.
Yeah.
And she just lost all feeling in that hand.
Just like, forever?
Forever.
Jesus.
And she was like, oh, it's fine. It just feels tingly. And I was like, well, no, you just can't feel anything. She's like, well, sometimes sometimes I'll accidentally stab myself with something. I don't realize it. Like a thumbtack will like stab into her hand and she won't realize it at work. And then someone will point it out to her and be like, hey,
there's a puddle of blood on your workstation.
Yeah. And she's like, oh yeah. And then like, we'll take it out and it's no pain. I was like, it's not human. Don't do that.
That actually loops into my previous story about like how I managed to just get through college via dumb luck.
Yeah,
like that's the disabled veteran part. Is she was a pilot, and then can't fly.
Can you not fly because you don't have?
No, they will not let you fly in the military if you can't feel your hands. That definitely ranks.
I feel like that's not
so
really
she's a
important.
flight instructor now.
Huh.
Like it's kind of important.
Well, the feet thing I get because the feet you need to be able to feel yourself pushing on pedals, but I don't feel like a plane like you can.
I mean, we're talking about the military that turn people away for being flat-footed.
And asthma. You know, the thing you can just go and be okay with? I mean, with how many people...
Hey, dog, reminding me to go back to dead dog stories.
Yeah. But, yeah, for us, it was... For my dead dog, it was really easy. It was just... Basically, it got to a point where I realized...
Shadow.
Yeah, bye.
He just walked in and then back out.
He was like, remember the dogs.
It's like a staff comes in to direct the conversation in the middle of a podcast.
Yeah. I mean, for us, it was basically we just I came to because it was my dog, so I came to the decision. I was like, okay, well, he's 13. He basically can't see. He basically can't hear. He struggles to move. He's not really living. He's kind of on like in the worst autopilot loop where he gets up, sits, and then doesn't do anything the rest of the day, and then just eats. Sometimes he'll eat some food, but then just stays in the same spot and then goes to bed. And he like literally isn't living anymore. He's just kind of like a set piece.
It's terrifying.
And so I just
really terrifying to think about.
Yeah, and so I was just like,
every day is exactly the same.
And so it got to the point where I was like, I think it's just more reasonable to kill you. Like, there's no reason to keep...
You had a real-life Seymour. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You had the real-life version of the end credits of that Seymour episode. Yeah. Oh, my God.
So we've just put...
Which is funny, because now you have a real-life Seymour.
Unfortunately.
Because your dog just looks like Seymour, but black.
Yeah. And so it sucked, but, like, the only thing that I hated was that my family was there when we put the dog down. I didn't want them there.
Why'd you not want them there?
Because they're fucking shitty people. And
like your extended family showed up?
No.
Or the family that lived with the dog?
Yeah, my family lived with the dog. Because okay, here's my thing, is that when you're putting a dog down, you need to be... There's a certain way you go about it, which is you need to be very emotionless and calm. You need to, like, look at the dog and be like, hey, buddy, how's it going? It's just a regular vet routine. You don't want to freak the dog out because the dog doesn't know it's dying, and you're the only one who knows that. So if you get emotional, the dog's like, oh, my God, what's happening? Why are they crying? They're all upset. This is really freaking me out. You don't want your dog to die in panic. What the fuck? What kind of person wants their pet to die freaking out? So I don't want that. So I was fine. I sat there very cold, emotionless, and was like, it's all right, buddy. Everything's good. My family's over in the corner like, oh, God, he's dying. I was like, get the fuck away from here. Like, I don't want you scaring. I mean, he can't hear you, thankfully, so he's not reacting, but shut the fuck up. Like, I'm trying to have a moment with my dog, and all I hear is like the choir crying in the background, and I don't need this weird movie moment. Like, it sounds like you're watching Marley and Me in the theater, and you're trying to just enjoy the movie, and everybody else in the audience is like, ah, and you're like,
this podcast is the strangest tone.
It's
at
awful.
the moment.
This one was different because it was the opposite effect, where I had to like deal with the dog being upset with its owner dying. So I had to like do the opposite. Where I was like, no, shut up! Like, you can't be upset because it's upsetting the person who's dying. Like, yeah. Which is fine because I could.
It got so much darker.
Because I could pick up the dog. I just picked up the dog and threw him out of the room, and it's like, that's easy.
So much darker.
I can't pick up my stepfather and throw him out of the room. Just get on out of here. You people are too big. But it's but that was the thing. After I put my dog down, I was like, I'm done. I don't want any more dogs. It's a terrible idea. They're really heartbreaking. And then
here's a dog.
And now I'm stuck with this one because it's like, it's, what are you going to do? It's like Last of Us situation where someone goes like, please make sure the dog's okay. And you're like, I don't know. Don't give me death wishes. Fuck you. You're dying. Like, you don't get to choose that shit anymore.
Because you inherited a dog.
Yes, I inherited a dog. And so now I'm stuck with the fucking thing.
And you love him.
I love the dog. I picked him out.
You love him so much.
I mean, I picked him out for my mom. I was the one who went there and saw him get born, and then I went and picked him out.
Saw him get born literally?
Yeah.
Like, literally?
Because it was a
you were there for a really specific time period.
Well, because when you're picking out a dog, you want to, like, get the best one.
Make sure it wasn't, like, tank grown. You have to see it literally coming out.
Well, no, I want to see, like, how it get, like, basically I want to see the reaction. Like, I want to see, does it come out being, like, looking like shit, or does it come out, like, basically personality-wise.
I've literally never heard of someone claiming they saw their dog get born.
It's
like
it's
when
important.
They went out to buy it.
I went
like you find out when they're coming to terms. Like, we're all going to sit in the bleachers, and we're all going to watch this one dog give birth to its litter, and then and then they auction off the young fresh out the womb. What is this fucking image you're drawing right now?
Okay, let me put it into preference so it's not this fucking Mad Max utopia you're imagining. The idea was I had a friend whose dog.
Do you think the dog would get nervous and have trouble giving birth?
No,
because people are watching.
The dog didn't care. It was basically
it's going to the bathroom.
Like,
they can't do it with all the eyes.
They're just stuck in there now. Like, they can't come out because they won't go.
You're gonna have to hold it.
Because the idea was my friend had a dog who was gonna have puppies, and so I said, okay, well, my mom wants one. It's the same breed that my mom
birth,
wants.
Like, shockingly easier for like all the other animals that aren't humans. We're just the ones that are fucked up.
Yes,
everyone else is just like, the babies are just out now.
The dog basically sat there and was like,
we're like humans. It's like a death-defying
screaming and like yelling,
where you scream for 14 hours and maybe rupture something that kills you.
That's because humans aren't supposed to give birth.
It's actually a nightmare. Everything's structured wrong and it doesn't fit.
Oh, humans are just like
mess.
just a fucking mess.
It's like, holy shit.
Well, it's because we don't have the space for it. Animals are built for that, but humans just aren't for some reason. Humans are like weirdly built to be like, the babies are not supposed to be here. Move everything up. It's like,
it's really
like, what?
It's a really strange. Yeah. Oh God, the diagrams we see the diagram of just how all the organs rearrange themselves around the baby being introduced to the situation.
It's like the most terrifying. Like, this isn't supposed to happen.
It looks like Alien.
Yeah. That's
like
why
it's a xenomorph.
That's why I don't like them. They are parasites. They're not supposed to be there. Your body has to compensate.
And yet the pregnancy metaphor is like your favorite horror movie.
It is, yeah. I do love
Alien
aliens.
is like your favorite thing.
It's like the greatest. But but that's what they look like, especially C-sections. I watched a video of that and I was like, I couldn't.
Why?
Because you have to.
I swear, you're probably the person that watches like terrorist beheading videos.
I did watch those, yeah.
Of course you did.
I mean, well, that was more edgelord shit though. That wasn't like educational. Watching a C-section is educational because you learn like it's important to learn the different ways that birth can happen. So that way,
are you one of those people that watches like cyst draining videos?
No, that's gross. I don't even know how to drain a cyst. I go to a doctor for that.
Ugh. Every now and then
You need to know how to give it, like...
I'll just be swiping on Imager and out of nowhere I'll be like, why is there a gif of this? No, move. I see where this is going. Like, you have to reflexively escape before, like, horrible body explosions happen. And I'm like, why is this on the front page? Stop this.
I mean, yeah, it's not great. But the point is that we went there. I went there because I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna get a dog, so I went to. I didn't go there on purpose to watch.
Like, I'm gonna educate myself on dogs. I'm gonna see the whole thing from beginning to end.
So it was like I basically went, I went over and I was like, okay, well, I want to see when the dogs give born. I've never seen a dog give birth. I thought that'd be an interesting thing to experience. It's just it's like an interesting thing. So
this wasn't like some sort of bizarre coincidence. You literally had made a conscious decision.
Yeah. Because I mean,
there for the birth of the dog.
I mean, look, people fucking like they had a live stream of a giraffe giving birth. People care about animals giving birth.
There's those real fucked up videos of like a giraffe like giving birth, but then like a lion shows up and it sprints away, and the newly born like baby that hasn't even stood up yet gets attacked by the lion, and it's like, son of a bitch.
Welcome to life.
Like on the roguelike that is life, the online leaderboard, that is the bottom ranking. Like that is literally, you go to the very bottom, you get some really bizarre birth scenarios. Yeah. I go, that was the hippo that gave birth off a cliff. It's just a weird place to stand that moment.
I mean, okay, you're acting like humans don't do that kind of shit.
The baby just went, just was a weird meat missile.
I mean, humans are just as like weird too.
Yeah, but it's just less distressing to talk about the animal situations than the baby baby lives. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying not to go there.
There's not a lot of babies getting eaten by lions right after birth. I guess that's true. But
there'd be some concerning proximity. I imagine that if there was lions nearby, then the woman was that vulnerable. It probably wouldn't make it to the whole childbirth part.
No,
in that screaming period.
Actually, I don't know. Maybe the lion would be put off by the screaming. The lion might just like get scared.
That was a plot point in A Quiet Place.
Oh yeah,
where like one of the
I heard somebody complain. It was like, why didn't you give birth under the waterfall? And I was like, wait, yeah, why wouldn't you?
That's a good plan, but the childbirth in that movie was a surprise.
Well,
like the moment it happened, it was a surprise.
Well,
like,
yeah, because that's
they were marking the calendar and shit. Like they were not thinking about it. They had a bunch of like plans about how to like store a baby quietly and things like that. They were
dead in a box.
Whole plot point is that they had like a soundproofing cradle, and they had like an entire basement they were slowly soundproofing throughout the entire pregnancy to try to work with it.
Why? Just don't they already have two fucking annoying kids?
They're trying to secure the future of humanity.
With a fucking monster out! Kill it first!
Also the opening scene kind of establishes why they might want another baby.
Because they...
Yeah, well, I'm not trying to just spoil the movie out, right? Although it is the first scene.
It's like spoiling Last of Us is like his... Oh my god! Shit!
I'm gonna have to edit this whole part out.
No, you don't. Yeah. You don't have to edit that out. Like, people... You can't... Okay, if the first thing that happens in something is not meant to be the spoiler... It
can be a spoiler.
It can be if you're a loser. The real reveal comes later.
There are things that can happen... Like, I think it's a mistake to just act like the thing, like if there's a shocking thing that happens at the end of a movie, that's the only thing that can be spoiled.
No, things in the middle can be a spoiler too.
Like, I think the beginning of
a
movie can be a spoiler.
Is it? Because I thought the beginning of a movie is supposed to be the hook that entices you.
Yeah, but the thing that happens can still be a spoiler. Like like Last of Us can be a spoiler. Assassin's Creed. Like that was actually a thing. Like there was I was on the Xbox 360 achievements.org website, and on the forums they had I remember they had like moderation rules of like, you can't talk about this part of the game because like they wanted people to be able to just witness the surprise. Which at this point, this is a case of a spoiler that's impossible to not know about now.
What about are you talking about the going into the machine thing?
Yeah.
Fuck you.
Because that was the
fuck you.
Because
that's not a spoiler.
Nowadays. 12 years later, it is 12 years later now since Assassin's Creed started. Now everyone knows about the Animus and the whole time elements of it and the like ancestors' genetic memories premise.
Look, let's not get into it. We all know about the machine.
Yeah, everyone knows about that now. But if you rewind back to when Assassin's Creed was first coming out, no one knew about the Animus.
Okay.
It was literally like, you're going to go play as Altair and be an assassin man. And that was the whole premise and every advertisement. And there was no hint at any point of like syncing or like the health meter being a sync meter or Desmond existing. Or being in the future with so like that is like a surprise reveal when you put the disc in and you're like, wait, what is this game? Like,
well, but it's
like that is a spoiler to have that spoiled for you. It's a spoiler that's no longer valid anymore because it's impossible to even know about that franchise without being spoiled because every single following game is about that now.
Yeah,
but at the time, for that window when it was the only game out, that was a thing that was a surprise when you went into it.
Like that's really tough to say because it for me it doesn't affect. Like if someone told me, like, okay, take for instance, like a good example would be, let me try to think of one. Dead Space is a good example. You don't run into the, what are they called? Fucking
the necromorphs.
Necromorphs. You don't run into a necromorph for a while.
Yeah, but I'd say I would say that in a game or any sort of fiction that's horror that unambiguously is about monsters. It's really hard to call the monster's existence a spoiler.
But I'm saying, if you revealed the first time the necromorph like attacks you, you're ruining something. Yeah, like because that's the whole element.
Yeah, but you do know the monster will be there.
Yes.
Whereas a different movie, for example, the Forest movie I've told you about before. Yeah, is a movie where whether or not there is a monster actually or not is actually a spoiler. Yes, because that is actually an ongoing question throughout the movie.
Which would
I would that movie yet?
No,
it's a real neato.
But that's what I'm saying is like that would be a spoiler to say yes or no to. Yeah, but that doesn't happen in the beginning. So I don't know. There's just like in the beginning, I feel like it's like for the first up until the first actual twist, like the first plot related twist once the hook has been set, that's when you can't spoil for me. But like the beginning section, so again, Last of Us is like the whole beginning cutscene
really isn't particularly impactful scene that you don't know in advance will happen is just generally all spoilable.
I guess
you want to go in and experience the moment and be like, oh shit, like have that impact. Yeah. Admittedly, The Last of Us, in particular, for the people that are affected by that game, continue to be affected by it when they see it, knowing it's going to happen. What? Like it still has the full impact.
I think in the video that we did, didn't I like guess that was going to happen?
I don't remember.
Especially
since the video is like so. In particular, since it's so edited down, because I was like, well, this playthrough's not working. Yeah. So I turned it into like a 20-minute highlight reel, so I don't even know what did or didn't make it in.
I could have sworn I remember there was a point, like the moment we got in the car, where I was like, oh.
Last of Us is one of the games that led to me making solo videos. Yeah. It was like The Last of Us and Outlast. We're like, Outlast is the example I normally give. Yeah. Because that was literally the one where that was the first playthrough I did was I started playing Outlast with you. You're like, fuck this shit. And then I went home and played it. And I'm like, I guess I have a YouTube channel now.
It's a garbage game. But
no, Outlast 1 is perfectly serviceable. The thing it's doing is just we were hot on the heels of having recently played A Machine for Pigs. Yeah. And a variety of other first-person horror games because they had an effect on you for a while there.
Yes, they did.
But then they just stopped working one day. Like, I was going through our old highlight reels because I've been thinking of uploading them all again on my channel just to expose them to people. Yeah. And I got to the baby blues parts. And it's like... Oh, yeah. It's like such a rudimentary... embarrassing game that barely even has anything that walks in it. Like, no, it's just some sound effects and some dark rooms and you're a baby and you were it was work to get you to keep playing.
Yeah, it was scary.
There's a whole part where you saw a shadow in the corner of a room in the distance and you just stared at the ceiling and you just walked away from the keyboard and mouse and you're like, I can't, I'm done, I'm not doing this. I'm like you were so set off by the most rudimentary shit at first. Yeah. And then it just stopped working at some point.
Well, because I think like Amnesia set it too high for me,
and then Machine for Pigs didn't work,
and then Machine for Pigs like set it way too low for me.
Machine for Pigs at first was like, oh my god, spooky, what was that thing? But then eventually you get to just look down at the creatures, and it's like, am I watching pig on pig bullying? Like, what's happening down there? And from then on, it's just like, there's a monster. It has a kill condition. And it becomes like, what was my experience of playing Slender the 8 Pages more than like 3 times? It's like at the first time we both were like, oh shit, this game.
Like, oh.
But then you play it like 2 more times and you're like, all right, every mechanic of this game is like immediately clear to me.
Yeah.
And even when I die, it's just because of like the random behavior of the thing being irritating.
It
becomes rules.
It's really enlightening to when you see people like when you see big YouTubers play those games for multiple sessions, and you go like,
they're faking like crazy.
You're faking like crazy.
They're either faking like crazy or they're weirdly deficient in some way.
They have to, yeah.
Because like they'll be playing some horror game that has really specific rules to it, and they'll die over and over again. And it's like you can't still be affected by that forever. At some point, after you put yourself through that much of it, like Outlast. I played Outlast 2, and there's all these moments that are kind of effective at first, and admittedly the game shits itself even on that level because it's so weirdly long and also convoluted and bizarre and has a bunch of dumb decisions. But whenever you get to a part of Outlast 2 where you start dying and you can't tell where you're supposed to go or what to do, then it just becomes completely ineffective. And then you're just like, okay, how do I get around this mob? Like you're thinking of them as like an enemy from World of Warcraft now, and you're just trying to figure out how to get around this level like it's Super Meat Boy, because you're like, I'll try this now. No, I'm dead again. I'll try this, and then you're just looping, and it becomes a mess. That's actually where something like traditional survival horror, the benefit of something like Silent Hill or Resident Evil, or even like Resident Evil 7, for example,
it's a linear,
or even something like Alien Isolation, is that because they're traditional survival horror, there are mechanics. And so once you get past oh no, I'm not super scared because I'm just trying to beat the goddamn level and I'm dying, there's a game to play. Whereas in a game like Outlast, you're just running to places. And there's like, it's way less interesting than like, oh no, I can't beat this level in Alien Isolation and it's kicking my ass. And like, I've got noisemakers and I can craft all these different things, and there's vents and there's multiple routes through the level. Like I can strategize and play a video game. As opposed to, oh, I ran the wrong way and didn't crouch quite in the right spot, or I didn't react. Like there's moments where like Outlast has a lot of moments where you run one way and like, oh no, a thing fell over, or there's a guy running from that door now. Oh, we got to turn around and try somewhere else. And like those shocking moments are really good when you guess correctly the first time. But if you don't guess correctly the first time, it's like, what was I supposed to do? And then you're just playing the same sequence 7 times until you spot like a weird door you didn't see or something. Or in one case in Outlast 2. He's going between like the murder hobo American Valley environment and this one school. And in the school setting, at one point, the solution is to hide in a locker. Like there's a part where you're running, and I don't mean like an Outlast locker, because Outlast 1 will have like just a locker. It'll be like, here's 2 lockers sitting here, like it's a clear like environmental interaction. In this place, it's a school. The whole hallway is lockers, and for some reason, when you run down the hallway, at one point you can turn left and interact with a specific locker and hide in it, and then it teleports you back to the American murder village, because he's like flashing between his past and his like a weird nightmare version of his past and the place he's currently in. But like, it was such an arbitrary hiding spot that I was completely baffled, and it was one of the moments where I literally had to look up what to do in a video game, even when it was that simple of a video game, because I was like, I literally can't find it. I've died like 15 times, and I'm just gonna edit all this shit out because it's unwatchable.
That's the thing. I think the reason Amnesia worked for me was because the monster was not predetermined. It would show up just like, you could die by it and be like, all right, I'm not getting fooled this time, and you walk through that door, it's not there. Where'd it go?
I feel like Amnesia is an example. I feel like Amnesia, The Dark Descent, is Walking Dead Season 1.
Where
like those were games that had unexpected success, where they were just doing what they were doing previously but slightly different. Like,
because Amnesia is like Penumbra.
They had 3 Penumbra games, and then Amnesia, and Amnesia was mostly iterating on those ideas. And Walking Dead was just like the Back to the Future game and a bunch of the other games that Telltale made in
basically every Telltale game.
And then those 2 things both were successful, but they both were still modeled after what happened before. But then after both those things came out, both the company that made them and other companies
decided,
especially other companies started copying their formulas, but only the part that looked like it was the reason it was successful, and they just cut out the rest. So like, you start getting a lot of games that Telltale in particular is a good bad example of only copying the part that seemed like it was successful about their own game and kind of shitting the bed at making their own type of game.
Yeah.
Whereas when the people makers of Amnesia went on to make Soma, they actually were able to get a lot of it right again.
Well, they didn't,
because Machine for Pigs they didn't make.
They didn't make Machine for Pigs.
That was
Red Lantern.
No.
Or Chinese
Room.
Chinese Room.
People that went on to make Everybody's Gone to the Rapture.
Yeah.
Because Telltale Games, they're like people like the intense decisions and the nonstop cutscenes and the Walking Dead setting and the killing of people and all that stuff. So as you went through the Walking Dead games, all the adventure game parts just started disappearing.
Yeah.
And it became endless cutscenes to the point where you get to Michonne. And I tried doing a Let's Play of Michonne, and each episode was only an hour long, as opposed to being like 3-hour adventure games like they were in Walking Dead Season 1. Because The Walking Dead Season 1 was like a 15-hour game.
Yeah, it was
when you got all the 5 episodes.
It's an adventure game.
Whereas Michonne was 3 episodes long instead of 5, and its total length was like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
It was shocking. And it was just watching a show.
Yep.
Basically, with really minute decisions very occasionally that barely do anything, and you didn't have to do anything in between. And just every now and then you got to mash that Q button to struggle, then E to finish struggling. Because that's what they do every time you get in a struggle moment in a Walking Dead game.
You got to mash and then mash another button.
And like a lot of other games would copy that formula of just being like, oh, we'll just make weird like marathon cutscene games with barely any decisions. And like at some point, so many other companies started doing better at Telltale Games formula than Telltale Games was doing.
Yeah, I mean, like their games. Like, the Batman game was really lackluster. They tried.
I guess I put the two of them on a shelf next to each other, but they actually are inverse examples of each other, which is that Telltale Games had an idea that suddenly did well, and then everyone else started doing their idea better than them, and they started doing it continually worse every time they'd make more things.
Yes.
But Amnesia actually did the opposite. Frictional Games. I finally remember their name.
Yeah.
Frictional Games did the opposite, which they actually made when they finally made another game. They actually made progress and like, oh yeah, look, they have good ideas.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone else
sucked.
Did worse.
Yeah.
Because everyone else was like, oh, that's what everyone wants is a bunch of games that have zero mechanics, a bunch of dark hallways, and you hide from monsters sometimes, and you run away, and there's shocking, disorienting things that happen.
There's two things
it doesn't have to make any sense.
There's two things that people took away from Amnesia.
Yeah.
Don't let the players do anything except walk. Because that's all you did in Amnesia.
They can just walk, or maybe they can hide inside of a cupboard.
Yeah.
Or under a bed.
And two, there needs to be a lot of scary moments.
And that's how you get like Baby Blue or Outlast or what was the baby Among the Sleep?
Among the Sleep was another one. But the problem is people forgot that like how those situations worked in tandem with each other to create that reaction, which is like, one, the monster wasn't scripted. It was a creature that would just roam the night.
The first Amnesia had mechanics. You had the light level you were maintaining. You had an inventory of things you were actually carrying around. You had puzzles to solve.
It's just penumbra.
A non-linear Metroidvania world.
Yes.
It was mostly linear, but like it was like a weird interconnected world you had to connect.
There were times you had to go back because you when you go into the first big hallway room, there's like a
hub world.
Yeah, there's a hub world that's closed off with like vines and sap and shit, and you can't like do anything. But the idea was, the idea was basically like you're going around solving puzzles to figure out the mystery of your amnesia, and but then everyone, but everybody else took it as, oh, if the player can't fight and there's monsters around, it's a scary game. And it's
Slenderman didn't help.
No, well, no.
Slenderman doing well didn't help. So then it just became a bunch of games where you just run away in an environment.
There was like a fucking. It was like the Minecraft thing. At least where there was a flood.
Like at least I can give FNAF credit for being a mechanically driven game, even if I hate their mechanics. Five Nights at Freddy's is really there's a lot of mechanics going on there. That's why I can't beat any of them. Because
are you talking about like the other ones, or because one doesn't have any mechanics?
You have to do a lot of ridiculous shit to beat those games. You do.
No, you don't.
You didn't beat them.
Yes, I did.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Look at my Steam account.
Didn't you just beat the first 2 nights or something?
No. Because I wrote a review and someone was like, "Oh, you didn't beat the whole game, so your review is pointless." I was like, "Fine."
Did you beat like night 7 or whatever the fuck?
Yes.
It just keeps going.
I beat every fucking night, including the bonus night.
I don't think you can just mindlessly beat those without paying any attention.
You can't, because the game's broken fundamentally. What happens is, if you just put the fucking screen in your face, no one can fight you. You just put the fucking screen in your face.
You can literally just camp looking at the screen the entire game, and you just beat the game.
Because the moment you put... They changed it in 2, but the moment you put the screen down in 1, then they'll, like, scream at your face. Because the idea is that when you run out of battery, you can't look at it anyways. Weird. So I found that glitch out, and I was like, and put in my face. So, like, I would...
Well, that doesn't invalidate my argument, though.
It does, because the game has no mechanics.
You found an exploit, but that doesn't undo the game's existence.
Well, the rest of the mechanics were just, wait. There's a thing. Press... Wait.
I mean, you're keeping track of a bunch of things and managing a resource and dealing with shit. Like, that's...
Well, the resource you can't manage.
It's a video game.
I mean, because
it's an actual video game as opposed to these hallway games where you run from...
yes, it is more of a game than a hallway game.
That was my entire point, and you argued against it as if you were from space and didn't know what the game was.
Because it doesn't have mechanics in a different way. Like, if you compare Five Nights at Freddy's to Night Trap, it's a fucking... They also
continually get more mechanics.
Well, now they do. Yeah, the first game did
that one in particular looked completely insufferable.
Which one?
The one that has like a crawling moment.
That's the sister location?
Like the one that has a whole bunch of gameplay mechanics that all look completely insufferable.
Oh, that's sister
like
location.
The one that looks like a mistake that should have never been made, I mean, even by the standards of the franchise.
2 through fucking everything else. Five Nights at Freddy's is so dumb and bare bones and basic and easy.
I just want to see more progress in the direction of like, Darkwood. It's a video game.
I still haven't played Darkwood.
It's a real video game. I think you'd like it.
Is it like Distrust? Or not Distrust? It's
way better than Distrust.
Is it?
It's significantly better than Distrust.
Is it the same vein, though? Like, basically, you're a person running around. You need to do stuff. It's like top isometric kind of top-down thing. But it's the idea. It's basically like Don't Starve, but Distrust combined.
It's kind of a cross between Distrust and Don't Starve in some ways, but like you have complete direct control of your character at all times, as opposed to the weird, loose kind of tell them to go somewhere stuff from Distrust.
Yes,
like you are playing a character that you move with WASD and point in directions with the mouse.
So
from top down perspective,
okay,
like you can point and shoot or point and swing. It's
kind of like how Don't Starve is.
But also, unlike Don't Starve, it's not like a weird base thing where you're doing a bunch of bizarre farming. Well,
it's not a wiki.
Yeah, no, the game is all in front of you, and it's like it's the type of game where you go out into the wilderness and you're trying to survive, and your survival is like, I can't remember if there's even food in the game. I think you just have a health bar.
Okay.
So it's like a matter of just like having stuff to be able to heal when bad things happen to you and things like that.
Kits, whatever.
I don't think there's a food resource in that game. What happens? You go out during the day and try to scavenge and accomplish tasks and stuff like that, and you don't have like super set in stone tasks. You have a journal that's written in almost like a Myst style.
So it's just kind of like survive,
or not Myst style. It's a journal that's filled in like a. You have a journal that's filled in like Elder Scrolls 3.
Okay.
Like the Morrowind journal, where just chronological notes of as developments happen.
Yeah, as shit happens.
And so you just go into the world and you'll explore and find what essentially like are plot developments and a mixture of like sub-stories and mandatory locations.
Okay.
That are all rearranged every playthrough in the world. And there's a day-night cycle, and so you have to worry about the nighttime, because at nighttime it gets absurdly dangerous. To the point where some nights even a supernatural force will just start killing you.
So monsters come out in the night.
And so you have a base. Which is basically
like Don't Starve.
Yeah.
Which is like once night rolls around, you need to like be somewhere safe.
So you have a base that can keep you alive. But the base, one of the ways it helps you is the fact that it has lights, for example.
Yeah.
And the lights can repel some of these things that only can exist in the darkness that can attack you. And but the lights are run by a generator. The generator creates noise, which also helps attract monsters.
What is this, Alone in the Dark?
And the generator needs fuel.
Of course.
So you need to be finding gasoline, but also like finding wood and nails gives you resources you can use to barricade your windows and doors, and finding metal scrap or even scrapping other people's traps you find in the world lets you create like bear traps that you can put. Like, it's like you're like, I'm not going to fortify that window, but I'm going to put a bear trap under it on the inside, and they'll like jump through the window and then land in the bear trap, and you can beat them to death while they're in the bear trap and stuff like that.
Can you reset the bear trap?
You have to rebuild it.
Oh.
But you get scrap from it.
Okay.
So I think every time you use a bear trap, you get half back, basically.
It's fine.
So everything about your setup... I'm going to close the door. I think
they can't hear that, but...
I think they can.
No, they can't. I don't know where it's coming from either.
Your back door is open, so you can hear somebody working in their backyard with like a weed whacker or something. It's probably audible. A little bit, at least. It's going to fuck with the noise reduction at the very least. It's still surprisingly
audible. It still sounds like it's in my backyard.
It's surprisingly audible now, even with all the doors and windows closed.
Yeah.
But the thing about it is that just everything... Like, it's important that the bear trap loses a resource every time you use it, because basically the barricades, the bear traps, the fuel consumption, everything is in a constant state of decay, which is what incentivizes you to always be making a net profit every day in your attempted scavenging.
Well, yeah.
And then also it's also encouraging you to move forward in the story, because every time you move forward in the story, you actually move to a new location.
Yeah.
Of which it's not like Distrust, where you... In Distrust, it's like, I found a kind of a place where I guess I can go there if I need to sleep, but I can also, I'm just trying to beat this level in the next within this 20 minutes. Like, the entirety of Darkwood takes place over the course of, like, 3 bases, as opposed to Distrust being a series of levels to clear.
Yeah.
And it's also, like, a huge, like, it can be anywhere from being, like, a 40-minute speed run to, like, a 20-hour campaign based on all your exploring and whatnot, because... Technically, the story stuff you need to do is always there, and you can actually do it shockingly fast if you like have a system down on how to get there and everything, and also how to survive the world around you in the process.
Okay.
But yeah, like, it's just a lot of moments of just careful exploring and scavenging around, and like one of the gimmicks they do is that your vision cone is based on your mouse location.
All right.
So it's a top-down game, but you have a vision cone.
Huh.
So you can see you have a little bit of peripheral around you, like 5 feet of there's kind of some sense, I think, but you just have a vision cone that is your line of sight based on the direction you're currently facing, and so you'll be like waving your mouse around, like checking your corners and shit like that, looking around while you're walking, because you're primarily wanting to be looking the direction you're going in to see if you're walking towards any like surprise monsters hiding around trees or literally walking into bear traps and things like that are in the universe. But also you're checking around because you're hearing sounds, and you're like, is there a creature like sneaking up over in that direction? Like, because like there's just creatures that just exist, and they're not even necessarily stalking you. They're just kind of patrolling around or just walking about, but you'll just hear them. You're like, I don't quite know where it is, but it's to my west, and you're like glancing over there nervously while you're heading in a different direction. And like, there's lots of fun moments of that. Like, it's really good mechanical tension in a way that's a real video game, as opposed to run down the hallways from the spooky man and hide in a locker. And you have health management. You have a level up system. Okay. You can find mushrooms and stuff that you can cook at your base that give you stuff you inject into yourself that essentially gives you experience. It's called essence, I think. All right. And every time you level up, you can get new positive traits that are either passive positives or like a literal thing where you can press Q to slow down time to open up a menu that shows you like your like once a day abilities you can activate, and you can choose one of those to activate that you've gotten from level ups. All right. But even that has a negative, because all of your power ups are in tiers, and every tier has a negative trait. So in order to unlock that tier, you have to pick one of the negative traits first, and then you can start picking the positive traits from that tier. That's shitty. And so you have a series of negatives you're taking onto yourself if you want to keep leveling up and stuff like that, or you can just stop. And like there's just a lot of mechanics going on because it's a video game. Yeah. But it's also mostly relatively clear stuff, as opposed to, I hate wiki games. Yeah, I hate wiki games. I hate wiki games. I don't like really playing like Terraria and Starbound are already like kind of getting there, but I really dislike playing games like Don't Starve or lately I've been playing Stardew Valley, and I've sort of just given myself the job of just being the guy that does the dungeon part, because the dungeon part immediately I'm like, oh, I get it. Yeah. Every 5 floors there's an elevator back up. You have to either kill enemies or mine rocks to find the next floor. Mining certain things gives you loot. Enemies give you loot. Like, I'm like, okay, video game. But like when it comes to like the farming stuff, especially when you're with multiple players and they're all just like, move aside, fuck boy, because they just know what to do. And I'm like, I literally, it's not even just that I don't know what to do. and like I'm slower than everyone else.
It's not that you can't grasp it. It's that I don't.
You almost can't even find out in game how to play the game.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's crops, and somewhere you might be able to sell them or something, and like there's cycles of something, but there's so many items, and like it's just like it's in so many games when you just are in the game and you start like in Dark Souls or whatever, like you start playing, you're like, okay, I am an RPG protagonist. I proceed forward through level and fight things that are in my way to achieve goal somewhere. And like it's weird to explain this idea, but like there's so many games, like for decades, all video games have been video games where like you go from point A to point B, or you're in an open world and there's tasks everywhere, or like there's some idea of like what the game is and what you do.
How did the game is self-contained, and you don't need any any outside sources to play this game.
When I launch Don't Starve or
Minecraft or Terraria,
Minecraft, and Stardew Valley, I definitely have moments where I'm just like, I don't know what the game wants from me.
Yeah.
Like even Factorio is actually better at this.
Well, Factorio has a tutorial.
Is significant. Not even without the tutorial, it's significantly better. Just in that you're like, oh, there's a resource there. I have this item in my inventory. I literally press E and there's a crafting menu. Like, oh, that thing mines coal, and there's coal here. I can mine coal with that thing,
but boy, do you not
you won't just happen upon advanced strategies out the gate.
No.
But when you play Factorio, I always was like, oh shit, like you keep unlocking and you just find another thing in your crafting menu, like, oh, you can craft this with these things and stuff like that, and I always found a next thing to do in Factorio without even having to research it.
Yeah,
Whereas, like Don't Starve, I'm just like, I don't know what's happening.
There was some stuff I had to figure out with Factorio.
I'm supposed to rub like flowers on myself to be less crazy, or I'll die of crazy. It
sounds fun.
We had a session, my first session of Don't Starve years ago. I played it with Bird and Wander, and I was playing as the librarian.
Oh,
and I was going crazy.
Yeah.
I was literally going crazy, and I was like, how do I not go crazy? And neither of them could answer my questions. And I'm like, three of us are playing a video game, and none of us can explain how I'm dying and how to stop the dying. Like, I'm not cool with this design philosophy where you have to like do intense online research to figure out what to do.
And the worst part too is it's not online research you have to do through the company.
No,
it's like it's
the community has to create it.
The community creates wikis that aren't guaranteed to stay there forever.
We're playing Stardew Valley, and then like all these comments are about our inefficiencies, and I'm like, inefficiency at what?
Yeah,
what am I even supposed to be accomplishing as the end goal? Let alone be efficient along the process towards that. I'm like, it's literally, I don't know what the metric is. Like when they talk about me being inefficient in like the surge, I can like gather some idea of what they mean. When they say it in Stardew Valley, I'm literally like, I don't even know what the metric of success is to begin with that I'm being compared to.
Yeah.
I can't tell. I'm so baffled. It's the weirdest thing to do for an audience. Because you're like, because they have so many expectations that are self-made, basically.
Oh, yeah.
And don't communicate to me. And so I'm sitting here like, I don't even understand.
I think the worst part is just I am just genuinely tired of games that are just wiki games that require Binding of Isaac's another one. It's like these games that require you to just either store absurd amounts of knowledge.
I'm definitely tired of all the roguelikes where you just pick up a thing and it's like, it's the coat hanger. I'm like, what? And you're like, it's the coat hanger. I'm like,
and it just makes them like,
that's all it does. It just says that.
Yeah, and it just makes some snide joke like, don't put it in your vagina. And you're like, I don't literally know what that means. Are you saying like, don't be a female character when you pick this up? Or are you saying like, abortion's funny? Like, this is serious. I'm playing a game here. What the fuck did I just pick up?
Weird, baffling things happen. I'm not even exaggerating, by the way. Like,
there is a hanger.
Like, coat hangers and abortion pop-ups and stuff like that are like just actual items in Binding of Isaac because it's about fetuses and stuff.
You look that shit up and it's like, oh, a coat hanger does this. You're like, that's not what I would have thought it would do. Like, half the shit you pick up in a Binding of Isaac, you're like, I would have never thought it would do that. I remember which
ones do it better or worse. Because some games are super bad. And Isaac might be one of the worst. I
think
ones.
Isaac is the worst one.
One of the only ones I can tell is, like, I understand what tears up means. It means your tears are better, which is the way you fight. But there's so many things where I'm like, what is happening? I'm like half of a new animal now. What's happening?
And it doesn't help when you get into situations where it's like, oh, do you want to sacrifice a heart for this item? And I'm like, no, because I don't know what that item is. And you can't just like go up to
you hit a point where you're playing Risk of Rain or Isaac, and you just have like a 3-row long list of icons on your character now. Yeah. Just all the mutators affecting you now,
and you're just like,
this game is noise.
Sure, it is just there. Like those kinds of games are built with the intention of players just hammering through it over and over and over again until they like become legendary.
I feel like every time I play Risk of Rain, I always start off with a good impression just because I want it to be a better game.
Yeah.
But it's a roguelike, and it's that specific type of roguelike that I find really uninteresting, which is that, like, when we played Tokyo Jungle, that game has surprisingly decent mechanics. Well, where, like, the moment-to-moment experience is tense and desperate and interesting. Yeah. But Risk of Rain, for example, is part of this other type of roguelike. And also this one, like, I think it's called, not Legend of Dungeon, Dungeon something, I don't know. There's one that...
Dungeon Defenders?
Dungeon Souls.
Dungeon Souls.
There we go. Dungeon Souls was this game that I'd always watch Wander play every now and then. I'd be like, this is noise, what the fuck? That game and Risk of Rain are just ones where you just snowball. You just like, keep your actual ability to play the game well doesn't seem that interesting or important. It's mostly, can you snowball this absurd collection of mutators in your character, and then you just win, basically. And you know that you have this particular. I would say that a good roguelike is one where you could die, where you have a very even and scattered distribution of death times. Probably somewhat increased towards the beginning, because it's easy just to die at the beginning. But my idea is that you're just as likely to die in any given minute. Yeah, and so you could have like let's say a linear spread. Like the line chart of your deaths would be a straight line going down, because of course the further you're in, the rarer it is to die at that moment because you're further in.
I would say Rogue Legacy is like that,
but something like Risk of Rain, it has an exponential problem. You are exponentially more likely to die at the beginning of the game than the rest of the game, because your powers make you so much more powerful that the game becomes a joke. And so I think I've played Risk of Rain like 10 times through now. I think I've beaten it like 10 times. Damn. And you either die in the first 15 minutes of Risk of Rain or you beat it. Yeah. And it's like a 2-hour experience, but you either die immediately or you just beat the game. Yeah. Because you just get so absurdly powerful that it's like and you start realizing that what you're doing with the controller isn't really that important part of the experience. No. And Dungeon Souls definitely looks like that too, where it's just like the character becomes a weird snowball of death powers. And that's how you beat the game, and it's so uninteresting.
It's unfortunate, but it's
not the thing you're doing.
It's just a genre of games that appeal to enough people that they keep being profitable.
Rogue Legacy is not comparable necessarily.
Well, I meant comparable in the...
Rogue Legacy is weird.
Well, Rogue Legacy is one of those kind of games that I feel like you will always die more in the beginning, but once you know the full map, like once you...
Well, for me, Rogue Legacy isn't applicable in this comparison, just because it has a weird, like, sustained progress thing. Yeah. And it also has a weird setup where you have an experience that changes every time you play a different class, because like there are classes that literally have a ramp built into them and stuff like that. Like Rogue Legacy is really weird. Sure. Like even towards the end of the game, you can die shockingly early in runs and have bad runs and have amazing runs both at the beginning and end. Like it's just...
Well, just don't pick the colorblind person.
It's like a fundamentally different structure for a game. It's weird, as opposed to like when games you're supposed to beat from front to back in one playthrough. Yeah, it's a very different structure. I like Rogue Legacy more because it's more of a normal game, and I'm not super fond of just losing everything. Which like a lot of roguelikes, I'll play them until I die once, and I'm like, all right, and then I just move on forever. Because I don't really feel like starting the whole experience over.
I definitely feel that pain. You know what? You're talking about... what's it called? You're talking about dead dogs.
I was literally like, we never finished the dead dog stories, did we? But or the conversation that spawned them, which was the cop story, which also never happened.
You never did that either.
Well, we kept sidelining, and then we got to roguelikes? Yeah. I don't even know how.
Video games.
And it wasn't even the roguelike reference I made, because I made the joke about like I think I made at some point the joke about like lifespan of an individual being comparable to like a roguelike like leaderboard, and that didn't even spawn the roguelike conversation.
No.
I don't know how it got here actually. Oh, we talked about horror games for a while, which led to the discussion of Darkwood being cool.
Yep,
because it's really cool.
Because it's really cool.
It's just a really good game. Although I'd have issues with it, but that's better discussed after you beat it.
Yeah.
Because I think it has some interesting conflicts in its design, but it's all in the realm of like, this is good though. It just
works. I
have a thing where I think Darkwood is a good game that's split between being two better games.
Okay.
Like
that's interesting.
Yeah, like
that's a weird concept.
You'll see it when you play it, and you'll have more context for it. But I feel like it had a fork in its design philosophy that could have become one of two better games, and instead they just stayed in the middle and they never diverged into one of the two directions, and it kind of and like the two parts conflict a little bit.
Huh?
It's weird.
That's interesting.
But you'll know what I mean way better when you just beat it, and it's worth that game is worth playing.
So.
Do we want to finish our dead dog stories?
I wasn't particularly trying to go back to the dead dogs. I think that's enough.
I got to hold the dog as it was dying in a vet store at a veterinary vet store.
A vet store? Buy your vets now. They'll kill your dog on sight.
Because you met Toby, right?
Which one's Toby?
It was the golden retriever with one eye.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you just stopped seeing him one day, and you probably didn't necessarily know why.
I'm pretty sure that it was dead.
Well, that's the context clue. Because we had a
well, when an animal just disappears from someone's home, it's usually pretty apparent.
We had a golden retriever that we adopted as a rescue, and it had one eye, and it looked like that one character from Mortal Kombat, the one that has like half his face is metal and shit like that, like that. He looked like that for a while because his eye. Was
that Jax?
Yeah, not Jax, the white guy.
Oh, Kane.
Yeah, it's Kane. Yeah, there's a white guy with like a buzz cut, I want to say, and half his face is metal with a red eye or something.
I think that's Kane.
I think so.
I want to say that's Kane.
I don't know Mortal Kombat characters very well,
Maybe I'm wrong.
But the image of that character's face sticks with me a little bit.
Okay.
Does Jax have a half metal face? I think he just has a metal arm.
I thought he also had like a metal face.
I don't know.
I
think you might be thinking of Cyborg. The Teen Titan, who has a half metal face. There's a lot of overlaps of design flaws. People just like asymmetry in their edgelord characters. See every haircut of every anime character. And
furry.
So we adopted a. I mean, furry's just our anime. We adopted.
Excuse you, no.
We opted. I didn't say that anime is furries. I said furries are anime.
I don't want them.
Also, so is the entire Sonic fan base. It's just a weird subsection of anime that you don't want to think about. Nothing personal, kid. So we adopted a Labrador Retriever, Toby. Its eyes, one of its eyes was sewn shut, and its whole side of its face was shaved. Like, because for that part, for that operation, because I guess it was found found on the street, and like its eye was ruined or whatever.
Great.
And, like that was part of the process of rescuing it, and then we adopted it after that.
Oh, humans!
So it was adorable because he would run into shit. He would just run into shit all the time because he was one-eyed, and that's. Out of all the face structures to have, a dog head's probably not the best structure for having one eye.
Why? They have the same face structure as we do.
The eye's on one side. He clearly had a lot of blind spot in one whole side of his body.
They're not this perfect, but like if you look at a dog does face like they're
not super forward. They're kind of split.
They're kind of split.
He's seeing all of life at an angle more so than like a human would have significantly more forward vision all around. And whereas a dog is kind of seeing like a weird side vision. Like, so there's a lot of blindness on the other side.
They're like in a middle ground where they're not pointing direct. Like it's not the point where when a dog looks out through its eyes, it can't see its nose because its nose is like right in the center. Like when a dog has one eye closed, it can't see its nose kind of thing. Where it's like it's like that right. It's like perfect. Where
speaking of dead dogs, you kill a lot of dogs by hand in Darkwood, like just clubbing them to death and hearing them die, and I'm like. Like, they're literally dangerous and a problem, and I would try to avoid them because I didn't want to kill them. Not because I was like, oh no, they're going to be dangerous, but I was like, I don't want to kill more dogs today. I was like, God damn.
So what happened to Toby?
There's some really adorable shit where, like, he and Angel would fight over toys, and Angel would do keep away and would learn quickly that if she turned in one direction, she'd escape him.
Oh,
like
no!
Stuff like that.
That's fucked up.
Or like if Toby was going one way across the backyard, he would be fine. But if he's going the other way across the backyard, he wouldn't have peripheral vision for like the pool, and would just walk into the pool and have to swim out and have to swim over to the steps and get out, because he would just fall into the pool because he didn't see it. Like, that's how significant directional blindness was from having one eye gone for a dog. Whereas I don't think a person would have that quite that level of like, holy shit. Sometimes he would just walk into those the awning pillars, because he'd just be looking a little over to the side a little bit and then just walk into one of them. Like, there was a lot of collisions happening. But one day I just found him in the backyard just laying there. And he was just laying there. Like, he was alive, but he would not move.
He wouldn't move?
And I'm like, that's not a good sign when a dog won't get up.
Yeah.
And like, he was just sitting there panting, and he looks normal because it's really hard to judge dogs. Like, he just looks like a dog laying there until you realize it's weird he's not getting up.
Yeah.
And so I called my dad about it, and he said to take him to the vet. So like I literally brought a blanket out, physically picked up the dog, put him down on the blanket, and then like carried him via the blanket into like my car and the passenger like floor space, and drove him to the vet and everything. And I'm like, and even at the vet, he's still just laying on the blanket, waiting in the lobby. Like, he's just not moving. And like, so like, clearly he's in some kind of pain and something's wrong. And like, you just can't tell what's happening because you can't talk to dog. Yeah. And all that stuff. And like, one of the signs of worrying is like, because all the dogs always freak out at the vet. Yeah. Like, something about, I don't know, with the smell or
it's
what.
A smell, usually.
It just fucks with dogs. Yeah. Like, I have seen, like, Angel was the most well-behaved dog in all contexts, except, like, one, when she would see other dogs, she would always want to greet them. And it was a problem for walks because she just like yank on the chain. Yeah. And she figured out how to escape not only her collar, but eventually the chain. Oh. She figured out how to yank, like, throw her head to literally remove collars from her on ends of leashes to go running off to greet dogs. All right. Like, that was next level shit. But even she would like lose her shit if you took her to the vet. Really? And like, she would be so well behaved everywhere else that it was weird at the time. She would learn to recognize the vet, and if you didn't have a hold on her collar when you got out of the car at the vet, she would recognize where she was and try to dart. And you'd have to go like track her down in the parking lot and catch her and shit like that, because she doesn't want to go to the vet. Like, it's so weird. And like, and that apparently still affected Toby, because he was sitting like at my feet while I'm sitting on like the lobby chairs, he literally got up and came to me like a couple of feet and walked to me. I'm like, you literally would not get up, and you're getting up like now. And I'm like, you're that freaked out by the vet. I'm like, like that fucked with me a bit in general. And I ended up I took them into the operating room. They took a look at them, and like, just the last I saw Toby was I left them with the vet, because we didn't they were gonna like see if they could do anything. And like, overnight I found out from my dad that they decided to put him down, and I'm like, oh, all right, just
what? Like, what happened?
I think the theory was that he swallowed something that like what was already going through him, that was like not something that can go through you. But I don't like one of the ideas was that they suspected he might have like swallowed like a plastic bag or something like that, like something that just isn't food. But I never got the full story, and they didn't. I think they just didn't choose to invest the money to find out what what to do or something. Jesus. I just found out later the next day, like, oh, I guess the dog's dead. Great.
That almost happened to Shadow.
Oh, fun.
He ate a mushroom that was growing in the backyard that I just didn't know existed, and it poisoned him.
Oh shit!
Like, super bad. And so I didn't think much of it. He was just kind of like, he would sit on the couch and he kept like moving his head like this, really weird. And I was like, it's kind of like, stop doing that. So I'd like grab his,
like he's hallucinating.
Yeah, like, so I'd grab his head and like hold it straight, and he'd like look at me, and he'd be like falling down. And I was like, I don't know. I was like,
my dog's melting.
Yeah, it's like, I was like, dog is not working. And so I was like, okay. And so I was like, maybe he's just tired. Maybe he's something. So I would say like, hey, do you want to go do something? You know, like get up and try to move and get him to move around.
You try to hype him up, and he doesn't like.
And he was fine.
He doesn't react.
He was like, oh, let's get hyped, and he was okay. I was like, oh, well, he's fine then. He's just being stupid, I guess. And so I go to my grandparents, and I bring him with me, and we're having dinner and stuff, and he's laying on the couch, and I was like, hey, come over here, I'm gonna give you some food. And he was like, kind of got up, and it was like kind of shaking, like shake walking, like his head kept bobbing back and forth, but he was trying to walk.
Balance was gone.
Yeah, like he was like basically bobbing back and forth, but trying to walk straight. And so he's like,
was he doing that thing when you put shoes on a dog and they don't know what to do?
Yeah, it kind of looked like that, where they're kind of like
they start like over walking.
Yeah, basically. And so I was like, okay, I don't think you're good. Like something's wrong. So
no,
they
pump his stomach or something.
Yeah, so they brought I had my grandma and my sister bring him to the vet, because I was like, if they're just like, oh well, he's got to die, he's like, I'm not gonna be there, like, I can't do that, like it just fucking so they brought him, and they were like, the vet was like, oh, it's good that you brought him in tonight, he would have died overnight. And I was like, oh, yeah, that would have been fucking swell. Wake up.
I didn't even notice Shadow was in here when I closed the door. It just occurred to me. I'm like, oh, yeah, I locked him in here.
He's always in here.
That's fine.
But, the vet was just like, yeah, if you didn't do anything, you would have just died in his sleep. I was like, oh, yeah, because that's not traumatizing. Everybody loves waking up and their family pet's just dead on the bed. Like, that would have been swell.
Yeah, I've never had a dog die in the house.
Yeah, you never had like a dog. Yeah, just keel over.
They always die in medical care.
They always get put down. Yeah.
Although I don't know what happened to Roxy.
Okay.
Well, because I moved.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what happened to Roxy. Roxy I heard one day, oh, I guess Roxy must be dead now, because Roxy was gone.
Your parents are like
that was the poop chihuahua.
They put up with.
Oh shit. Sadcast canon.
Yeah.
We should acknowledge this, I guess. Yeah, because Sadcast episode 1 named Poop Chihuahua was a joke related to the Chihuahua in the house that I grew to resent. Another damn animal that I had to like take care of that wasn't mine, and that whole experience. I have dumb stories related to this thing, because I had to. First of all, there was a weird thing where they started getting a dog sitter when when they would leave town.
Yeah,
but I was there.
So wait, so the stranger just showed up at your house and was like, "I'll watch this dog," and you're like, "Who the fuck?"
There's actual Let's Plays where I pause out of nowhere and I just edit it out afterwards, or I just sit there in silence because I heard someone come into the house and I'm just gonna wait for them to leave in silence, and just I would pretend I wasn't home. Because I was upstairs in my room and everything, so I would just pretend that that there was just no one home, because that's what they expect. Yeah, because they're dog sitters, and the whole point is to come by and take care of a pet while the family's gone. And so I would just pretend that this was normal. So I'd just I'd put like headphones on and just like watch something or whatever in silence, or I would just pretend I would just be a ghost. I would just not alert them to my presence, because I didn't want to explain how fucking weird this was. Because even I didn't understand.
Yeah, I don't.
It was just a surprise.
I'm not.
And eventually, I got them to stop doing that. I'm like, I can take care of your goddamn dog. Like, it's really weird that you keep getting a dog sitter when like I'm here.
Does your dog need anything special besides food and not be dead?
Yes. Well, that's the fun part of the story.
You need medication.
Yes. So it was not fun dealing with this dog. By the way. This dog's
that you regret not letting this weird person just come and do it.
No, I'll never regret avoiding awkward social situations. I'd rather deal with annoying pets than have more awkward interactions with people that I. Well,
you weren't. Explain. You were awkwardly avoiding people.
This damn dog was diabetic. It's a diabetic Chihuahua. And it was also like it had full on like white mask, like it was a black dog that was covered in gray and white and everything. It's old, and it was slowly going blind. It was diabetic. Supposedly they did a good job taking care of it, because supposedly as a diabetic dog it was supposed to be dead in like 6 months, and it lived for like 4 more years, and only slowly lost its vision like near the end of that.
Jesus!
Like it lived with diabetes for a very long time, and only started losing its vision like right at the end, basically. So like it stuck with there for a while. So I guess the treatment was working or whatever. But yeah, you had to give it first of all, it was fed wet food, which meant I had to open a can and scoop out like a third of the can into a thing, then mash it up and put pills into the mashed up stuff. So they would there was a little pill that I had to hide in its wet food so it would get consumed at some point. But
Why don't you just give it a treat?
That's the easy part. That's the fine part. That's the whatever part. The next fun part is the injection.
Oh, the insulin?
Because I had to give it insulin, which meant there's a whole bag of needles I had to deal with. And
by the way, I just want to point out, I'm sure I said this in Sadcast, how fucking dumb is it that there is insulin for dogs?
Is it even different?
I don't know. That's the worst part. It might be different. And
I don't know if it is different. I think it's just the concept of insulin.
But the idea that someone's like, by the way, you got to manage your dog's diabetes. Like, what the fuck? How would I even know if the dog's low on blood sugar?
Yeah.
What am I supposed to put its stupid fucking prick its paw and like test its blood?
I don't think that process was involved. I don't think.
No, you just kind of wing it.
Yeah, you kind of just give it insulin
but that's what I'm saying. Like that's why most dogs with diabetes die, because you just overdose them on insulin.
Yeah.
Because I
think it's mostly just gotta manage its diet.
If your dog has diabetes, you fucked up.
I think dogs are easier to maintain than people in some cases because their life's so regimented and exact.
And
out of their control.
And the dog's not going to go and eat like a cake without you knowing.
Yeah.
Like a kid with diabetes is like, you might as well chain the child to a pole. No, seriously, because
like
the child
we need tests more because of the fact that our lives are so irregular compared to a dog's, which is so exact and repeating. But this fucking dog would just flee, and it's a Chihuahua, so it fits.
You have a problem with fleeing animals.
Yeah,
you always have to take care of animals that run from you.
Yeah, but dogs like me. I get along great with dogs because they're dogs.
I feel like that's subjective.
Those cats just escape because they flee from anything that's new. But this dog would not flee until it was time, because it would realize. Oh. And I'm like, you fucker.
The dog built its own schedule in its head and was like, it is insulin time. I'm going to go.
Yeah, it was and it was such a confusing thing because the dog would go up to the treat drawer and bark and get all excited about the treats, and I'd get the treat and then it would run away because then it would only at that moment would it realize that treat had it would forget the connection of treat to insulin until the moment it saw treat. Then it would run from treat because treat equals insulin. It was a very Pavlovian moment that it was afraid of treats.
But it wanted a treat.
It wanted treats in the hypothetical, but when it saw the treats in the literal, it would run away from them because of the insulin shot reminder, basically.
What kind of absurdist mindset is
And in both the dog's case and the cat's case, you just grab it by the scruff and kind of pull it up, and you kind of just jab it in there, and you feel the piercing thing, and you just inject it, and they weirdly don't react.
No, they just go I'm
I can't tell if they feel this or not. Needles freak me out, but whatever. But they react enough to freak out about the concept of the process, but they don't react at all during the process. So it's weird. But yeah, I just catch another fucking small animal, and I'm like, I hate small dogs. I hate them. I hate them so much because they're irritating and they're aggressive and they're unfriendly and they just do a bunch of shitty things. But they also have a bunch of health problems because they shouldn't exist in the first place.
Yes.
But also they can hide in tiny spaces. And I'm like, you shit. I don't want a dog that can go under the bed.
Yeah. Shadow can do that. Shadow can go under the bed. But it's the thing I like
your
about...
dog at least goes in the variability of how much bed space is there.
Yeah.
There's a variable of which beds your dog can go under. But Chihuahuas can just go anywhere.
Yeah. Chihuahuas are just limitless.
I would always be afraid of I was always afraid that one of these days I would not close the door manually but let it close behind me, and it would slam and slice the dog in half or something, or that I'd backpedal and step on the dog, which would presumably just die if you stepped on it. I hate the idea of a dog that's foot sized.
Chihuahuas are a mistake. Chihuahuas are just...
They are so horrifyingly fragile looking.
Yeah.
And I'm I've had so many hundreds of moments where Angel is just infringing upon personal space while we're at the door to the garage or whatever, and we're backing up, and you step on her paw, and they massively overreact.
Yeah,
they do the super yelp that is not proportioned to the actual feeling they're actually feeling. It's just a surprised, gut-wrenching sound.
Yeah,
that is frankly a disproportionate punishment for me because it makes me feel way worse than anything that happened to them, because they're immediately over it instantly. But
Shadows
I'm
that.
all those moments I have, I'm a Chihuahua immediately makes all those moments way scarier.
Yeah.
Because I'm like,
Because it can happen at any point.
I'm just happy the dog's dead now, and I never did it.
Wow.
I'm just happy that after those years, the dog's finally dead at a vaguely normal time period, and I didn't cause it. I'm like, oh, thank God, I won. I won at not killing this Chihuahua.
Is that all the dogs that have died in your life?
I think so.
Boy, that's a lot of dead dogs.
It's only 3.
I mean, if I only had 2.
It's 3, and only one of them was like my dog.
Yeah.
Like that was grew up with this dog, and it was around for like a decade, and then it died one day.
And now your parents have 2 other dogs, don't they?
There's a brief adoption of a dog that then died of surprise weird problem, and then a dog that was inflicted upon us at a late date, and then eventually died of being very old because it was like a 15-year-old Chihuahua. But yeah, now they have 2 more dogs.
They have 2 more.
Yeah.
Your parents enjoy suffering,
and one of them's a rescue again, and it has like emotional trauma.
Which one?
The one that isn't up. The one that won't greet you.
Which one didn't?
You've been there with 2 dogs. You've been there with those 2 dogs, right?
Yeah.
And for context, they're like, I don't even know what they are. They're not Dachshunds or whatever, or Dachshunds.
No.
They're kind of short, long dogs, but they're like white with black spots and everything.
I forget what they're called.
I don't know dog breeds.
I think they're
well.
Dobermans.
Doberman Pinschers?
Or
bloodhounds? That's what they
bloodhounds?
are? They're not bloodhounds. I'm pretty sure that's not what a bloodhound is.
They might be Dobermans.
I don't know.
But I didn't see...
They're not German Shepherds.
Did one of them
and they're not Pit Bulls, and they're not Labradors, they're not Huskies, so they're wrong.
Did one of them not... They're not a big breed, they're wrong.
Yeah. If you're not getting a nice, solid-sized dog that can do shit, then it's like, why'd you...
I'm trying to think, did one of them not greet me?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
One of them's hyper friendly and jumps on you and aggressive, not like aggressively greeting you, and not aggressive. Like it's all up in your shit, and it's so hype, and it's running from person to person, and it will not stop wanting more attention for the entire get together.
Yeah,
like it'll just find a new person that will put up with it every 5 minutes for the entire night.
Literally, my dog.
And the other one just sits in the distance and like cowers away from everything. Because I think it was abused or something before it arrived at that house, and it just like
I could have sworn I pet both dogs.
It gets along super well with my stepmother and the other dog, and nothing else, including my dad. Like it just hides from everyone and retreats from everyone.
Huh. Weird. I didn't notice that.
Yeah, they keep getting. They went for another rescue again.
Oh, I mean that's nice. They should.
They're both the same breed, but they got them at different times.
That's impressive that it likes the other dog.
They got the first dog first, the happy one,
not abused one,
and then they got the rescue like months later.
Okay,
and it happened to be the same breed. It's like
that's convenient.
Coincidence. Yeah, stuff just happens. I have another dead dog story though that's not mine, which is that Roxy had Chihuahua friends, and one of them met a fairy tale end. One of them had a dramatic ending. They had 2 Chihuahuas.
And you witnessed this?
They had 2 Chihuahuas that were more annoying and more small and awful. I think you met Roxy at some point, probably, and it was like a big Chihuahua.
Well, it was just a fat Chihuahua.
It's not even just a fat, like it's a larger breed of Chihuahua too, where it's like it's more.
It's not
it's a Chihuahua you pick up with 2 hands.
It's not a purse. It's not a purse-sized Chihuahua.
It's a Chihuahua you pick up with 2 hands because it has the vague anatomy of a dog, but it's just too small. But these other ones were like the fucking Taco Bell dog Chihuahua. They just are awful and shrieky and aggressive and irritating. And I'm like, why did you add wildlife to your house? Like it feels like you just brought a badger in and wouldn't let it leave, and it hates you. Like it feels like that kind of thing. And one of the and they would roam in their backyard and stuff like that, and one of them just got carried off by a hawk. Because it just got carried off by a hawk, and they never saw it again because it was prey. A bird flew into their backyard and carried off their dog, and I assume ate it, and that's the end of that dog's story. And I'm like, we have committed an actual sin against wolves in that we got that far. Like, I love the story of how wolves came to existence. I did a whole college paper on the domestication of wolves, and I think this shit's cool about how we made dogs are man's best friend because we actually made them that way. Like, they're so
dogs didn't just show up and we're like, we love you.
They are such perfect companions on so many levels.
Yeah.
And then we just took advantage of that and we just ruined them.
Yes.
Like, we could have had all these nice dog breeds that are healthy and perform well, and they live happy lives.
What the fuck?
And they're great.
Are you really saying that?
And then we're like, well, we're gonna fuck them up and make these ones too.
Yeah. Do you not notice that literally every single amazing thing that humanity has ever accomplished has been turned into shit?
Do you hear about how they're breeding they're trying to breed pugs to reconstruct their snout?
Yes, because pugs are a fucking abomination of mistakes.
It's like, because pugs and Chihuahuas are all in that territory.
So are golden retrievers.
Like,
golden retrievers are getting to a point like that too.
Like, what have you done to them?
They're all inbred.
They're they're a weird mess.
And you know what the fun part is?
Jesus,
let it die. Just let the breed die.
I've put like labs next to retrievers before and just been like, the retrievers are just stupid.
Yes.
They're just weirdly stupider than the very similar dog next to them.
It's almost like they're Lannisters.
They're really Lannister as fuck. They all look like Jaime. With the golden locks. You put them next to a yellow or black lab and it's like, oh, this is the normal dog, and this is the weird designer mistake.
Yes. I fucking hate that about dogs.
The dogs are so good, and we just do the wrong things to them.
That's why I got Shadow what I did, because Shadow is not a weird... He's not a pure breed, which are mistakes.
And Angel wasn't pure either.
No.
We couldn't figure out what she was.
Yeah, Shadow
she was clearly mostly a yellow lab, but there was something different and we couldn't figure out what it was. We just couldn't recognize it. It was too slight. But that's also what all dogs should be.
Yes. Dogs are supposed to be like humans, which are varying.
You're supposed to mix the genes so they don't start melting.
So they don't become pugs, you fucking losers. Like Shadow's a poodle terrier chihuahua mix.
Yeah.
That's just a combination of random shit. And you know what? He's a great damn dog with no health issues. I wonder how that happened. Probably because it's not a fucking genetic mistake.
My brother has a husky, a Shiba Inu, and a corgi.
Oh, a corgi?
And those vary a bit in their reasonableness of breed.
Yeah, corgis are very, very...
Isn't it weird how a Shiba Inu is just an Akita that somebody put into Photoshop and scaled down?
Yes.
Like 30%?
Yeah.
It's like, I think they have the same silhouette. I think they're just identical looking, but different scale.
The reason
I can't tell the difference.
No, the reason is because one of them grew up in the mainland of Japan, and the other one grew up in the northern cold of Japan. So they took on like weirdly unique traits.
They have like environmental adaptations that led to them having different sizes, but being otherwise identical breeds.
Yes,
because I can't tell the difference between them. I need I need you show me a picture of a dog, and I need something next to it for scale so I can tell which the two it is.
Yeah,
because it could be a trick of the light.
so like Shiba Inus were used in really old time Japan.
So what I'm telling you is, in about 10 years, I'll have 3 more dead dog stories.
Yeah.
I thought of another dead dog story.
What the fuck? Where do you keep getting these?
It's not literal. It's tangentially related, but it's interesting. Finish your story.
But anyways, the idea is that Shiba Inus they were used in Sapporo for hunting. So that's a very snowy, like icy area. So they just...
And the smaller ones were in the ice?
Yeah. Because they were smaller, so they could.
I almost expected the other one.
No, they needed to fit into.
I almost thought like the bigger ones would be able to like walk over the water level, or like they'd be able to walk over the snow more better or something. Or
they needed the Shiba Inus.
Or the body mass would maintain heat better or something.
Well, the Shiba Inus are really good at maintaining heat.
They're dense little shits.
Their coats are very dense.
Floors me sometimes. Yeah, because it's just this little tank dog that's really heavy for how small it is.
The reason that they're so small though is because they need to fit into bear caves.
Oh Jesus!
Because they had to run in there to.
Sure, that went well.
Well, yeah, they ran in there and they would bark to wake up the bear and run back out, so the hunter would then kill the bear.
They were like bait the bear.
Yeah, they were bear bait, but not like because the bear didn't go after them. The bear didn't give a shit about the dog. Usually,
I gotta say, their husky. It's still young and growing. Yeah. Like it's in its like teenage years now or whatever. Where it's like
some portions of it are too big.
Yeah, it's like about fully sized, but not. But it doesn't quite look like a normal aged dog yet. Yeah, so like it's still like awkward. A growing up husky is so absurdly soft.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was like, holy shit. This thing is it's a silk dog.
Yeah.
Like for like an entire year, it's just impossibly soft.
And then all of a sudden it gets like really like
incredible.
Rugged and hard, and you're like, what happened?
It's great.
It's like if you go to school and there's like that really shy, calm person that you know about in class. You know, the person who like keeps themselves, or really like, you know, not. They're just like a very to themselves, calm, shy. They're very like thin, more nature. And then you see them like 10 years later, like super rigid and hard. And you're like, what the fuck happened?
I was like, where are we going?
It's like those changes where you're like, this is this gap that happened. I don't really like it.
So my dead dog story.
Okay, great.
Is we were in Lodi.
Okay.
I think at a wine store place, and I get dragged to the wine locations a lot because we live in Central California, and there's a lot of
we live in Northern California.
There's a lot of wine stuff here,
wine
everywhere, like Napa's nearby and shit. I don't drink generally, and I especially don't. Of all the options of drinking, the least appetizing one of the entire list is wine. I'm like, I don't even slightly get this one. Like, I will literally try hard. I will do a shot of hard liquor before I do wine, probably.
Really?
Because I'll be like, sure, whatever. Let's just fucking let's have an experience for a moment. I won't keep going, but I'm like,
yeah,
fuck it.
You can,
or I'll be like, sure, I'll try a margarita today. Let's just see this. Let's experience margarita. Or I think I've told you before, I have like a checklist. I've just kind of done one of a bunch of different things. Yeah. Like, I think I've had Fireball whiskey.
Gross.
And yeah, that's what everyone says apparently.
Yeah.
I've had a margarita. I've had like a fruity rum, like long drink thing.
Oh, okay.
They do the tall drink full of like rum and fruit. And I had what was called the Fluffy at a Gabriel Iglesias concert.
Okay.
I saw him, and there was the drink named after him, and it was a rum fruit thing, and I just had that while I was there. The only one I really returned to ever is champagne, where I was like, yeah, I like this. I like every part of the experience of this.
Really?
Yeah.
You like champagne?
Champagne tastes good. It feels all right to drink, and also I don't really react to it anyway.
Well, it's mostly just
I prefer
bubbly.
Strawberry champagne over regular champagne, but they're both like, yeah, this is all right, and I'll have mimosas.
I mean, it's just bubbly water.
Yeah, I'm cool with having a mimosa where you mix like champagne and orange juice.
Champagne.
Yeah. This is the fringe that begins to appeal to me in this world that I don't want to deal with. It's like how I don't give a shit about cars, but like I can appreciate a good air conditioner.
What? What the fuck even is that sentence?
I mean, I care about whether the air conditioner works well in California in my car.
Okay.
My list of things I care about in my car is really small. That's me with the alcohol world, and then just kind of zeroing in on champagne.
All right.
Individually.
I guess that's fine.
Although I did have my bravery juice. I had my dumb motivation thing where this is a dumb thing, but when I was playing Outlast at the beginning of the channel, I had to motivate myself because it was getting to me.
Oh, okay.
Like the audio, in particular, the audio design, playing it full blast on my head. Like the audio design in particular was really effective on me, and like I just did not like making those episodes. And I had to motivate myself. And part of the ritual was I'd mix cran grape juice and Coors Light. I don't even know why.
God, what the fuck?
It was just a dumb thing I just made up.
That sounds awful.
It mostly tastes like cran grape, honestly, which is something that we just like to have in general.
Yeah, but Coors Light? Come on, man. God.
My idea was that if I had some slight amount of alcohol, I might be able to move forward. I don't think it had any effective... I think it was entirely a placebo effect on my ability to push forward.
One beer isn't going to do shit to you.
It was able to get me to move forward and record an episode like 3 times where I just did not want to.
That was
my dumb motivation juice. Anyway, the dead dog story was that we're at the winery, not an actual winery, but a wine location at Lodi, because it definitely wasn't like fucking vineyards there. I guess it's still a winery if it's not the vineyards, because the vineyards are the vineyards and it's called different things. Whatever. Whenever we're here, I have to entertain myself in these kinds of settings.
When you're at the vineyards.
Because I don't give a shit about the core thing the thing is for.
Yeah.
So sometimes I go sightseeing, but when we're at a vineyard, because there's sights to see. There's no sights to see in Lodi.
No.
But a vineyard is like a pleasant place to be in the middle of the day, and there's a bunch of like picnic benches, and you can get like cheese and salami and shit.
It's a place to...
There's a few things I can like deal with.
Yeah.
But when you're at a place that's just like a store in the middle of Lodi, you're like, oh, cool, there's just fucking nothing. So I'm looking at, there's everyone's sitting in a circle and tasting wine and shit like that. And I just pick up the book that's on the middle of the table. It's Dogs of Wineries. It's the dogs of all the people who own the wineries in the United States, basically. It's like a bizarre, it's thick, by the way. And it's just a photo of each dog, and like, this is their name, and here's their age, and a little blurb about them, and it's just like a nice photo of a bunch of dogs. And like, that's it. It's just some cute idea somebody had as a gimmick thing to put on the tables of all these wine places, and they like, I'll make a few bucks
Dogs
off
are
this
cute.
idea.
Whatever.
Like, some guy was like, oh, this is a niche that I can farm, and they did. Then I look at the copyright date of the book.
Uh-oh.
And I realize every dog in this book is dead.
Oh no! Was it like a 10-year-old book?
It was like a 15-year-old book.
Oh no!
And so you just realize this is a book. This is a dead dog diary. I think I actually told this story to your sister, and I think I told this story to you and your sister. Actually, over here, I'm realizing now. Yeah, because I had the dead dog diary, which is what I called it because it has great alliteration. And I made a point to share this with everybody else that I was there with. Because this became my new source of entertainment, is that I had this dead dog diary, which I guess is now the name of this podcast episode. Because it perfectly supplements what we've been talking about all episode, which is not what I thought. Every episode, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen.
Me neither.
It's just a surprise.
Surprise.
Like, we had an episode called Roller Coaster Deaths.
We still haven't got to any questions.
No.
But
that's the story of the dead dog diary, and if you ever hear it mentioned in the future, you know what I'm talking about. I've never had such a small piece of information in a book be so important as finding out the publishing date of the book and finding out that it's so old that every dog in it is dead.
That's like an impressive feat to do, honestly.
Oh no! Some things just don't age well. Bill Cosby shows and the Dead Dog Diary.
I don't know if Bill Cosby shows don't age well. Do they not age well? Just because
they don't age well because Bill Cosby is the central moral figure in all of them, and that really gets fucked up when you realize that he's Bill Cosby.
I mean, someone wrote that,
and he's in jail for life now.
Someone wrote his moral compass.
Oh, we have 10 minutes.
Yeah. So we have 10 minutes. I'm gonna go on a tirade.
All right.
All right.
We'll do questions next time, I swear. I promise. I'm so sorry. This topic had legs.
Yeah.
About 4.
Yeah.
Until it didn't.
Oops. So
we didn't have any 3-legged dog stories.
I've never owned a 3-legged.
No. Those 3-legged dogs are badass.
They are.
I'm like, holy shit, look at them just
go.
Don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they just keep moving.
Like, they are over it.
They're like literally unstoppable machines. So today early this morning, I went to a funeral.
Yes, you did.
I did.
I found out about that en route. Basically, I was like, oh yeah, you're like, yeah, I'm at a funeral today. I'll be ready.
I sent it to you last night.
Ready at like 2 or something. No, that was this morning.
No.
I have the power. Let's see.
I sent it to you last night.
I don't believe you.
You probably think it was the morning because your ass probably checked it at like 4 a.m. I
don't believe you.
I didn't send it to you when I got up.
I believe you.
Are you going to actually check it?
Yeah, 7:20 a.m.
I thought I sent it to you beforehand.
You sent it to me definitely today.
Oh.
Like, I think you sent it while you were there. I think you were at the funeral.
I was, yeah.
Being like, by the way, I'm at a funeral.
Yeah.
I was like, I thought I should tell you this before you show up at my house.
Well, I mean, I figured you weren't awake at 7 a.m. But so I had to go to a funeral today, and it was at a very fancy church that was attached to a school, which is weird, but it is. And so
I'm a little worried about how this story started. With I'm going to go on a tirade.
So
and it's going to be about somebody who's dearly departed. Like, where are we going with this?
Here's the thing: if you're going to have a funeral,
do you know the person that died?
Yes, it's a family friend.
Did you know them well, or is it like kind of you're kind of along for the ride?
They've been there my entire childhood. They've been they're like family friends that have been a part of my life for like ever, because they're my grandparents' best friends. Like both of like my grandparents have known them since school, and then their kids grew up with my mom, and so then they knew each other since they were born, and then they knew me. I mean, they didn't really have
Here's
kids.
a weird thing is like my grandparents feel like such a weird like static fixture that just stays in one building forever that like I literally can't. I don't think I've ever met one of their friends in my entire life.
That's impressive.
It's just we just visit my grandparents and they're just there being grandparents.
Well, mine
like,
lives...
I literally can't imagine. I actually struggle to imagine my grandparents having a full life and like what they do all day or what what their life is like, because they're like, it's like visiting a museum.
They just never change.
They're in the same location, and the same location feels the same with like all the same like like pictures and shit on the walls and everywhere, and all the same furniture, and they're always in the same building. We always visit them there, and like it feels like a front.
Yeah,
it actually has this weird like artificiality to it, where it's like I love them and it's great and everything, and we have dinner and we have conversations, but it's like I literally can't imagine them doing
anything else.
Things,
yeah,
because I don't ever see it.
That's how my other grandma.
To be clear, they're in a house, not a home. Like, it's their house.
But they're just never changing.
Being married forever until they stop. And
I'm sorry for their loss. But so I'm at the funeral. It's this fancy church. And first off,
I mean, what would the shame be of not being a fancy church?
I mean, I don't know. You could go to like a hovel. I don't.
I'm just thinking like I feel like every church by design is fancy.
No, they're not.
Oh no,
no,
are they not?
No.
Oh,
it depends on what kind of church you're going to.
You find your way into like a wooden like mission somewhere or something. Oh,
that's
I guess I've only seen the fancy churches because I'm not a churchgoer.
Yeah,
so they take me to like
the fancy ones.
Because I've been through like 3 church processions. What do you call them?
Sermons?
Is it just a sermon?
Well, the sermon is like when you, or mass, I guess you could call it. I would call it mass is when you stay for the whole thing. That's like on Sunday.
Over the course of my entire life, I've been to like 3 Sundays.
So that's 3 masses.
Where you're just there for like a while, and it feels like time has stopped, and you can't really tell how much time is passing.
Yes.
Passing.
Yeah.
And they're speaking in strange terms that are hard to even though speaking in English, it's like structured strangely to the point where I don't even want to put the effort into listening to it.
Yeah.
And I just kind of sit there in my slightly nice clothes, because I've never had actually nice clothes, and just wait respectively because stuff is happening that other people care about, and I'm someone who will be respectful in those situations.
That is impressive.
But I'm just like, how did I get stuck here today?
I was literally on Discord the entire
I'll just be
funeral.
like, how did I get stuck here today?
But yeah, like I was on my phone the entire funeral because I was like, this is boring as shit. Like, fucking, what a waste of time. But what? Who am I going to offend? The dead person? They don't know it. They're dead.
I mean, no one's surprised.
No
one's surprised to hear.
And no one's going to say anything to me. I mean, no one's going to be like, Andrew.
No, I mean, out of our audience, no one's surprised by your behavior.
No one, honestly, in my life, no one's even surprised by my behavior.
You almost threw a vending machine out of a window last time we went to an escape room.
Yes.
There was a real risk of that going.
I almost
tilting slightly differently, and you having a different day as a result.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I went to another pizza place yesterday, and there was that machine again, and I was like, I can't go in there because it's gonna fucking screw me.
I thought you were about to tell me a story where this escalated worse.
No, I couldn't, because it was like there was a whole thing. There were like some kind of there was like a whole charity going on there for like cancer raising. I was like, I'm not gonna go and make a scene throwing machines around while people are trying to raise money for cancer. That's kind of fucked up. But
even Andrew has standards.
I do have standards. I'm not gonna inconvenience a charity. I mean, that's, unless it's like a shitty charity. Like,
you were the most confusing litmus test of bizarre characteristics just shuffled together. Like and like I'm kind of used to it at this point, but we go on trips with other people and they get surprised by you because they know about all the shit. Like they're already conditioned by for it to be ready for you to be the guy that's like on Discord at the funeral and shit like that.
Yeah.
But then you're like picking up litter from other people to throw away in parking lots, and I'm like, what are you? And like Marty was just confused by that behavior.
What, do you thought I was just gonna like leave it there and kick it?
Yeah, you found like a half full Coke and just picked it up and threw it away.
Yeah,
from somebody else's litter, and it's like Andrew of all people.
You shouldn't fucking litter, dude. I live here. Don't be an asshole.
It feels like so. It was kind of like. It's one of the reasons why I was kind of looking forward to having you do the Pottermore test. Is just seeing what the fuck the internet can make of you, because like whenever you feel like if you're like answering a question at the beginning of an RPG about what a character's personality is like, you would just pick random answers practically is what it feels like how you got Andrew. And so like I was like I love the idea of finding out like we're both Ravenclaws and just on bizarre different takes on that.
Yeah.
And it's like, and immediately I can see it, and of course you can see it because it's a fucking horoscope bullshit thing where you can retroactively come up with explanations for all of it. But it fits but it's just a perfect example of this weird nonsense.
So, yeah, I mean, that's true. That's my life. It's a weird, like, hodgepodge of weird moral stances. So I'm at the funeral, and
you're like, what are you gonna litter? But also like, let's just help a person cheat with their on their person they're coupled with. Who cares? Like, I don't feel bad.
Why would I feel bad?
Exactly.
I'm not being cheated on. Like, I'm not gonna be upset that someone else wants to cheat on somebody else. It's not my problem. What the fuck? Why do I have to feel bad about the other person? I don't like. If I know them, I guess I could feel bad. But like, they're not my friend. They're not my family. Why am I going to have any care about some random human on the street who is apparently not good enough of a person to keep their significant other around?
You have to play Frostpunk and Darkwood.
I mean, Frostpunk's just going to literally be like
we just
totalitarian.
need to see your standards applied. You've already played this War of Mine, right?
Yeah.
Although you could do a YouTube run because it does reshuffle and everything.
Yeah.
And just see what Andrew does in these situations.
Does
he strangle the old man and shoot his dog?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has stuff I need.
That's what I always felt uncomfortable about playing those games, is if you ever look on a wiki about them, you hear like you get distressing windows into strategies, but the whole point of those games is like the context of the morality and not just the pure mechanical like optimization.
See, I can't.
So when you go into like a wiki, you just hear people talking like, "Oh yeah, if you strangle this old man and shoot his dog, you have a lot of early game resources." I'm like, what the fuck are you talking?
See, that's the problem. I don't view a lot of games like that morally. I view it in a mechanical, like, that's efficient. Yeah, do it. Like, if like Frostpunk is like, well, do you want kids to work? Yeah, it's efficient. Do it. Like, having kids work is more efficient. That's more hands working in the fields. And it's like, what if they die? I don't care. We will replace them. Like, why do I give a shit about...
Frostpunk's like your fantasy, because there's scenarios where you can just replace all the humans with machines.
More efficient, yes.
And all the humans just sit there and live in houses.
That's how it should be.
As automatons just run everything.
Yeah. That's kind of the goal of life. Any case, God damn it, I'm talking about dead people.
I'm making this podcast longer.
So I'm sitting there, and first of all, I want to make a note that I don't know who invented the idea of carrying a fucking casket. It's stupid.
Did you carry the casket?
Yeah. We live in get a damn dolly. I'm not going to carry a fucking box with a dead person in it. That's stupid as shit. Roll the damn thing out there. A fucking stupid ass dead person.
Forward this to your family.
That's fine. Do it. I didn't... That's why I had my damn mom cremated, because I don't want your fucking stupid ass body lugging around here. It's a pain in the ass. Turn it into dust. Throw it somewhere. It's easier. God damn it. Secondly, don't bury bodies. A waste of space. Fucking throwing wood in the ground. Stupid asshole. Third,
part of me does like the idea of cremation in part just because of the creepy concept of your body just being left
to rot.
Just being left like unsupervised.
Oh yeah.
Just you abandon this body, and like what animals or insects or nature elements eventually get to it over what
not really, because you have a embalming fluid in you, so it doesn't really taste good.
Just all the stuff that is like, it's so much simpler to just be dust.
It's a lot more efficient and eco-friendly to be dust, because then you're not wasting valuable land with dead corpses.
There is definitely part of me that's like, what are we going to do with these 8 billion dead people?
Burn them.
I'm just thinking like current population, like they're all going to be dead in 100 years. So like that's a lot of people, that's a lot of bodies to have processed per century. You
know what? Why we have a very good statistic for this. When we had the Black Plague,
we processed like 8 billion bodies per year.
Yeah. But
that's weird to think. I mean, per century.
Per century, yeah. But think about this.
Fuck.
But think about this, Keith. We had a giant plague that killed a couple million people.
Wasn't that half the population?
Half the population.
Because the population was just shockingly small.
And you know what we did with them? Burned them all. You don't see like a giant fucking field in Europe full of Black Plague victims, because we burned them all. You know why? Because 1 million people to bury is a lot of fucking people, and no one wants to deal with that shit. Europe didn't want to lose a lot of land. Who's going to take that? France?
They didn't cremate them.
No, they put them in piles and burned them all and hope for the best.
What you're talking about there is a mass grave, ultimately, not like
Deary,
cremation.
let me be honest with you.
Where you like they didn't skip the process of burying people ultimately.
No, but I want you to be aware that cremation isn't you're not getting the dust of your family member.
No, but cremation does destroy the body.
Yeah.
Like I know there's the whole thing about like whether or not you're actually getting the right ash and stuff like that. But I'm saying like it destroys the body, even the bones and everything. It's all just like it's gone. But the temperatures they would have been burning bodies at in like the Black Plague would not destroy the entire body.
Well, no.
So like a burial still occurs, or you have a giant lump of death.
Well, it's just kind of mush and
so
bone.
Like they're not really. What you're saying here is not an example that actually it doesn't actually change your thing you're arguing for, because they still buried them all. It's just they burned them first, which was to get rid of the plague. Well,
fine. Okay, mass graves I'll accept, just as long as you're throwing all the bodies into one hole. But I'm not going to have individual holes for people.
Let's move forward with your other grievances about funerals before we start advocating war crimes.
The real grievance I have with funerals is that when they take place in churches, it's never a funeral. It's a fucking sales pitch. And I hate
it. On Christianity?
Yes.
Oh. Okay,
and
I'm like, are they selling their membership? Oh, their membership's Christianity.
It's the weirdest disrespect I have ever encountered that people are happy about.
Are the other people there religious?
Yes. And they're just like, oh, that's great, that's great. No, it's not. First off, one of the lines that this fucking asshole said was like, and then they go to Jesus, and then Jesus rose. Only one guy gets to rise? My family member's dead.
Was the person dead?
Yes.
Was the dead person religious?
Yes.
It's all to be expected.
No, that's still not the point.
It'd be weird if like I died and they were like recruiting for Christianity at my funeral.
They are.
That would be like some creepy stuff, like being picketed by the Westboro Baptist Church at your funeral, where it's like it just.
But that's the point
really
I'm saying.
Weird
is that
shit unrelated to your death is happening.
But the thing is that everyone there, because it's not just family at that funeral, it was friends and family. They're not all religious. Mm-hmm. So the entire funeral.
I still think it's acceptable to going to the funeral of somebody who is religious to have to just kind of put up with some religious stuff.
Yes, you can.
Because the funeral is supposed to be about the dead person.
Yeah, and I'll accept something stupid like, oh, they're gonna sing hymns, or someone's gonna throw fucking water on a casket. You can't baptize wood. That literally happened. The guy took a thing and started flinging water on a casket, and I was like, she's inside the casket, you fucking idiot. You can't baptize wood.
I don't think it's supposed to be a baptism.
It is. It's actually holy water, and it's saying like, I am baptizing you.
Are they baptizing it, or just supposed to be like cleansing it or something?
No, the cleansing is for the smoke, because they have like incense.
No, I mean like I think the holy water might just be like a blessing, not literally baptism.
He said it was baptism.
Did he say baptism?
Yeah, he was like.
I guess I don't even know what baptism means generally.
It means you're.
I know there's like there's like a thing you do. Like
it's a rebirth.
I know there's the whole there's rebirth that affects how sin works when you're a baby and shit like that. But I don't know the context of a baptism at the end of your life.
You have to drown the sin out of you.
That's the distressing implication at times.
And then cut your dick off.
I mean, like I don't know the context for the baptism of what its further purposes are, or why you would do it at a funeral. But I'm sure somebody will be happy to point us out via. There's people that basically just watch this podcast with Wikipedia open sometimes and just are fact checking.
In any case,
so that'll happen.
A really dumb thing. But the idea is that like when you're sitting there and you're listening to it, a lot of the sermon, and this is not the first time I've been to a funeral, and it's not the first time it's been a fucking Catholic funeral. The problem is that you sit there and the people will usually the priest will give you this fucking sermon.
I literally don't know if I've been to a funeral.
Really?
I don't know if I've been to a funeral.
I've been to 4,
or even a wake.
I've been to 4 funerals in my life.
I haven't even lost a grandparent yet.
That's impressive. I've lost 2.
Like I still have,
but I didn't go to their funerals.
I still have all my grandparents.
There's no point.
And one of them's gonna have a fucking annoying funeral. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
The Seventh Day Adventist. I'm gonna have to go to a Seventh Day Adventist funeral.
Good luck with that. It's gonna be long. I mean, a Catholic one is like an hour and a half.
If the wife goes first, I'll have to go to 2 Seventh-day Adventist funerals. I just... Like, I encounter religious people in my life.
Just hope they go at the same time. So it's just one funeral.
I encounter or find out they're right and they're actually immortal, and then they just never die.
Oh God.
They have all these dietary things that are supposed to make them basically immortal, and it's just, and they treat cancer by praying, and there's all this shit that I'm like, you are hurting people. But like, they're so preachy and so pushy in a way that like no other religious person in my life has ever been.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just like, oh Jesus, I just don't like visiting them because they try to convert me every single time. And it's like, Jesus, go stop.
No, Jesus needs you to keep going.
Jesus, stop.
Jesus, stop, Jesus, stop. But no, like the guy was sitting there in this, like just giving a sermon. He's saying like, this is why we come to mass every Sunday, is so we can be clear of our sins, so we can go to heaven.
Oh, he's like reminding you can die at any time, like almost like an insurance salesman.
He's like basically fucking threatening you that if you don't come to church every Sunday, then you're going to die and not go to heaven to see this dead family member you love so much. And I'm like, are you holding a dead person's soul hostage right now?
The amount of anxiety that has been given to children by those kinds of talks is like it's almost abuse.
The worst part is
almost abuse how that actually like terrifies children.
Oh yeah,
and whereas older parents are all like jaded and used to all this and aren't even actually thinking about what's being said anymore, and the children are like, am I gonna die and go to hell if I die on a Tuesday? And like, it's like, Jesus Christ, you can't unload this on 6-year-olds. You gotta stop.
The worst part is that, well, there's two worst parts. One is that that family sent their children to a religious school, which is an egregious thing to ever do. Fuck you terrible human beings. Secondly, they brought the fucking kid school choir in to sing at the funeral. I was like, did their parents approve to them showing up at a fucking funeral for some random person?
Oh, somebody else's funeral.
They're just random kids at some random person's funeral.
Just gotta get them used to death early.
And they're listening, they're here while all these people are crying for a dead body they don't even know, and they're singing songs to the dead body, basically, trying to help it go to wherever the fuck it goes. I don't know, fucking hell.
Did you ask him to do Thriller?
No, but they did sing Over the Rainbow at the end, which was requested by the person, which I said, that's not a religious, why the fuck did you... What?
Who was it requested by?
The person who died.
Well, that's fine. What? How? I don't understand your objection. I don't.
One, you don't get any choices. You're dead. Two, why would you have children sing Over the Rainbow at your funeral? That's kind of fucked up. Why would you have that? Why would you have that song sung by children at your funeral? That's an awful thing to do to children.
Articulate or anything?
Over the Rainbow.
What are you talking about?
Over the Rainbow is like a depressingly sad song.
Yes.
That you would want bright, hopeful children to sing to your dead corpse.
Yeah.
That's fucked up. Mm-hmm. You're an awful person.
Have you seen the live performance of that song? Like from the original artist, like live performance?
The big guy? Or no, you're talking about I know what you're talking about. Where she's like legitimately crying because her life is literally hell, and then she ends up killing herself after that performance.
Super soul crushing performance of that song. Yeah, that's brutal.
Well, when you're like basically abused in the Hollywood industry, and then you're like sitting there, you're kind of like a show monkey on performance.
There's a lot of sad history with that person.
Yeah.
That was a whole internet rabbit hole I went down because of the one time that Get Happy was on House.
Oh.
And I looked into Get Happy, and then I'm like, oh, it's the same person that originally made Over the Rainbow, and like I kept getting further into that stuff, and I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it's the same girl who played Dorothy in Wizard of Oz.
Judy Garland.
Julie Garland.
There we go. I had to get her name right.
She went through
a bothering me.
hell of a time. Yeah, when she was doing Wizard of Oz, she was not allowed to like eat. She had to do drugs to like keep herself thin. She had to deal with a lot of sexual like molestation and assault. She basically didn't get really paid that well. Everyone kind of hated her. She then went on to do Broadway, but everyone was just like, yeah, you're that girl from the Wizard of Oz. And no one really took her that seriously, and everybody wanted her to sing the fucking Over the Rainbow song. So eventually she just killed herself, because why bother? And so that was really sad, and everybody was like, oh, the tragedy. I was like, you are all the reason she died. Why are you sad? Like, you can't be sad if you're pushing a person off a cliff. Oh, they died. Like, you can't, what the fuck kind of, Like, I don't know. I'm imagining a serial killer's like sad as they're stabbing someone's heart. They're like, how come you're dying? It's like, literally you. Why are you? You can't cry. You killed them. You can't be sad about murder. But
I don't think we're in Kansas anymore.
But in any case, don't have funerals in Catholic churches because that's fucked up. They shouldn't be using your death as a means to gain more profit, and that's not okay. And I don't know why other people think it's okay.
Is that your doorbell?
No, it wasn't. But he's just insane. But he, yeah, but
well-known insane person, Shadow.
Yeah, but it was like because I was sitting there and I was like texting and I was chatting and then I was like took a second. I was like, wait, is this guy like pitching Christianity to me? Is he like trying to get me to come back next week for a service in the middle of someone's death? And then then he said the line of like. It's like, oh, well, you never know when you're going to... Like, wait, are you threatening me now that, like, I might die when I leave this funeral? And if I didn't come to church, I might not go to heaven? What the fuck is this shit? I was like, this is the most absurd...
There's a weird context of, like, yeah, in a way... On some level, there is almost like it's almost like the priest equivalent of like closing out the funeral with like, comment, subscribe.
Yeah,
like
that's
like,
basically what it is.
This is my job, and I need to maintain a viewership, or this doesn't work for me.
The worst thing too is I fucking hate that they have these priests who are not people that are like actually important to the person who died. They're usually like. They know them, like, oh, they're people that came to my church or whatever. Ah, fuck it, I don't... Yeah. But they always go through these stories...
There was a person at your door. They just walked away.
Well, goodbye then. There was, there's always, like,
they waited for a while, too. I think they wanted to see you.
I don't know who it was.
I don't know, they just walked away to the side, to the right now.
They're fine.
That wasn't just a package delivery.
No, what's it called? What's it trying to say? Fuck. Oh, they always give these speeches. They give these really awkward speeches where they try to act like they've been best buddies with this one of thousands of random people that show up to their church every fucking week. And they're like, I remember when blah, blah, blah did that. I was like, you don't remember fucking shit. Because he took him a second to remember both her name and her age. He was like, today we're here for... And he kind of like looked at the fucking casket and it was like,
maybe it's
so and so, and I was like, oh, "Did you just excuse me? Did you just forget the name of one of your fucking followers?"
Maybe they had stage fright.
No,
I remember once I went to do a presentation in front of my college class for public speaking, and I just forgot Kurt Cobain's name, who was the subject of the entire talk.
Good job.
And I literally had been practicing for the last 3 hours, and the name just vanished from my brain. The moment I stood up there, which is great.
I see.
Great feeling.
That's the thing. I don't really care because you're a person, an average person who's just giving an average speech. I've also forgotten
your face. I've also forgotten your name to your face before.
Yeah, that happens a lot. People do that often. But like this guy is a presenter. Every week he goes and lies to people by reading stories out of a book, and it's like you can't even remember the name of one dead person who comes in, but you can remember the name of every stupid fucking apostle that happened.
That's one thing that bothers me a little bit is just
it's like insincere,
the impersonal nature of having like a factory funeral.
Yeah,
of going to like the funeral location where the funeral man will funeralize you, as opposed to like, going to a place that matters to you, or not necessarily, you don't want to like I really like this Applebee's, I'll have my funeral here. I'll just drag the body in. No, but I mean like being surrounded by the people that care about you and having them have the funeral, as opposed to like some dude like you're getting married.
Yeah,
like that. It's like a service industry of your final the final thing about your life happening.
I mean, like for when I did my mom's funeral, we had to do it at a church, because there's like really nowhere else to do it. But at the church, I was like super specific where I was like, I'll do it here, but you do not get time to sermon at people, because I don't believe your shit. And I don't care if she believed your shit, because she's already dead. So she already got her free ticket. So she's already out of here. You don't need to sermon her to get her to heaven. She's already there theoretically. So the only person you're sermoning is because you want to fucking sell something, and fuck you. And so the person got 5 minutes to read a poem out of the book or what, I don't know, fucking whatever the Bible's full of. He got to read a thing out of the Bible, and that was it. because he started doing the thing where he's like, and now we're gonna sing. I was like, no, we're not singing shit. We're not singing shit. We're not doing religious shit. We're not here for the fucking fake deity of God you fucking preach to people. We're here because a dead person needs to be cherished for being dead. That's all we're here for. We're not here for whatever the fuck this building is for. Jesus Christ. Fucking God damn it.
So, you can send questions to SitAndDiscussPodcast@gmail.com. We'll probably get to the next week unless somehow we introduce a topic 5 seconds into the podcast that somehow goes continuously.
I swear
for 2
we're
hours,
getting the fucking questions tomorrow.
We'll just have to open with a question without talking about anything, and then nothing can take root.
Yes.
Let us know if this was the podcast that finally pissed you off. So far, we've been doing great, but I this might be the one.
If it is, you say that every week.
I don't know. We advocated mass graves and called priests salesmen.
No, I didn't advocate mass graves.
We'll see how this one goes.
I'm advocating cremation.
Thanks for watching. Like always, see you next time.
Bye. Unless you're religious, and go away forever.
I edited out the spoilers, but not any of the stuff.